Chapter 1. Honey, want a meat floss pancake? Play smart, climb easy. Hello everyone, this is JM, Aiming's Classroom, bringing you new heroes and fresh insights. Today we're covering the newly released Shadow Stream Lord, Zed. I know a lot of you have been itching to play this Ionian Master Assassin. So how do you play him well? What's the optimal build? And once you've snowballed, how do you lead your team to victory? Watch closely. Ming is going to show you everything with a recording of a high-tier match from the national server at 2,300 points. It was November 30th, 2012. In a little rental near the University District of Jinling City, Su Province, Jiang Ming quickly read the opening monologue into his microphone, eyes flicking to the script on the right side of his screen. The monitor replayed a late-night, high-tier match. After confirming the footage was correct, he hit a hotkey to splice the audio with the video, then tapped the desk with his fist. Continue, continue. It was only the beginning. A long road still lay ahead. He launched into the explanation. First, let's look at Shadow Stream Lord, Zed's passive and 4 active abilities. Passive, Contempt for the Weak. Zed's basic attacks deal bonus magic damage to targets below 50% health. Undoubtedly, this ninja is a perfect assassin hero with a very high skill ceiling. For items, Aiming recommends prioritizing attack damage and armor penetration. Since Zed is skill-based, cooldown reduction is essential. Black Cleaver is an excellent fit. Brutalizer, its component, has a smooth build path. Bloodthirster, with its potential for up to 100 attack damage at full stacks, is also a solid choice. Zed's core ability is definitely his W. Mastering his shadow is the clearest way to tell whether someone is a noob Zed, an upper-tier ninja, or a Hokage. Jiang Ming, trying to make an original meme, paused, picked up his water cup with his right hand, and took a couple of big gulps. Gulp! Gulp! This was the young man filming the tutorial. Jiang Ming, male, 19, a sophomore in the School of Management at Jinling University, a streamer on the YY platform, a League of Legends content creator, and a person who had gotten a second chance at life. He was not one of those tragic reborn protagonists with broken families, endless grudges, and melancholic duels with fate. In his previous life, he hadn't been rich, but he had a decent life, healthy family, no serious illnesses, a few close friends to shoot the breeze with. His job was fine, his salary acceptable, and the mortgage pressure from a house and car was manageable. He hadn't been selected by Destiny's Deep Blue system for any miraculous talent, so why had he been given a rebirth? Because he wanted to go back to college and do it differently. Rebirth meant a second chance at university. Graduation meant writing a thesis. Passing the thesis meant getting a job, and he had no desire to endure another all-nighter thesis slog, nor to sign on to a life as an office drone who worked through New Year's. He didn't want to lose half his hair before 30. Most importantly, back in his previous life, he had been talented enough that if only he'd ignored his parents' objections, he could have switched from management student at a top university to a professional esports player. He regretted that choice. He remembered, nearly 30, finally buying a ticket to an esports final and watching T1 sweep 3 teams live. He wanted to shout for a refund, but then everything had gone black, and he'd woken up in the present. Yihan University, freshman year. So starting that freshman year, Jiang Ming planned how to persuade his parents to let him take time off and try esports. Of course, his parents saw a gaming career as a risky tiger, a profession with low pay, unstable prospects, and no guarantee of long-term stability, compared to a top university graduate working in an office with air conditioning and coffee. The term esports itself hadn't yet gained widespread recognition. It wasn't until the following year, when the General Administration of Sport of China began establishing the national esports team, that things would start to change. So in his previous life, their refusal had been understandable, and in this new life, he didn't expect them to change their minds immediately. He didn't throw a tantrum, threaten to run away, or write flowery farewell letters. He didn't try to persuade them with speeches about the future of esports. He believed in one simple thing: results speak louder than words. If he could produce concrete success, his parents would accept it. What he was doing now was part of that plan. He had the talent and a better understanding of the game's evolving meta. He pushed himself to 2300 plus rank shortly after finishing high school. That let him become a high-tier League of Legends streamer on YY and a technical video creator. By the second semester of freshman year, after he'd accumulated some fans, he applied for the university's entrepreneurship support funds and opened a small retail business. Outwardly, just a student e-commerce venture, completely unrelated to a pro gaming career. He produced hero guides and high-tier highlights and slipped a little advertisement for his shop into the middle and the end of each video. All right, time for a commercial break. I know you handsome, beautiful viewers won't skip these 3 seconds. You wouldn't want to see Aiming starve while making videos, right? Today's recommendation is our store's best seller, Yuchen Ru Song Bing, Yuchen Meat Floss Cake. Made with premium pork floss and a pastry with a full 128 layers. Click the link below to get a 3-pack at a special group buy price, up to 80% off. Hey, after gaming, have a Ro Song Bing. It's amazing. If you buy 3 or more or join a group purchase, you'll get an extra discount. Of course, we have a lot of other snacks too. Copy the link below and search for Aiming's Snack Shop. He clicked back to the match footage. Now, back to Shadow Stream Lord, Zed. As a classic assassin, Zed has the usual weaknesses in teamfights and the late game, but he plays differently from most assassins. Chapter 2, Selling Cakes and a Team. The League of Legends tutorial video market in late 2012 was a goldmine waiting to be exploited. Unlike the later era of mass-produced, cookie-cutter guides, players then were obsessed with rank. Combat rating numbers hung like medals next to usernames. Internet cafes stayed open all night for people chasing the gold border. Even breakups could happen over a single line. Sorry, your rank isn't good enough for me. Jiangming knew the rules of that wild period inside out, and he'd built a meticulous plan for his videos. Every tutorial had to be around 28 minutes and 17 seconds. The intro needed at least 2 or 3 low-health clutch kills. Each episode had to drop at least one meme that would become timeless. Ranked taunts like Kid Zed and Hokage Zed worked like magic. His current project, a Zed tutorial, was crafted from those early traffic secrets. The opening showed 3 consecutive tower dives, turrets almost acting like Zed's personal charging stations. He cut in close-ups of his 2300-point account's loading screen, and when explaining W, he slapped in a distorted voice clip. Look closely. This man is Xiao Shuai. Even without a deep blue AI to help, someone who'd lived through the internet explosion could become a decent LOL tutorial blogger without much trouble. With foresight on his side, Jiang Ming's videos were produced far faster than most. When a new champion dropped, other creators were still gathering material while his guide was already uploaded the next day. Speed aside, his high rank gave him authority. Viewers trusted high-ranked creators more than gold or silver players. Natural clicks followed. More views meant more sales in his online shop. In an age where online shopping was booming, that translated into steady income. Almost done recording. He'd made countless edits by now. Practice had made him efficient. All that remained was the voiceover. A dozen minutes later, he rubbed his shoulders and stared out the window. The street below was empty. The early morning sky had no stars or moon, only the occasional car breaking the silence. He checked Adobe Premiere one last time, clicked save, then logged into his video account and uploaded the files one by one. Done. Waiting for the next wave of orders. He shut down the computer with practiced speed, pushed off in his wheeled gaming chair, and it slid him away from the desk. He stretched and sighed with contentment. It was good to be 18 or 19 again. He could grind from 10 in the morning until 6 in the evening, then edit videos for another 4 or 5 hours. If he still had the body from his previous life, he'd be exhausted the next day. Or worse, too sore to even find the mouse after a few games. Youth is good, he thought. A healthy body was the foundation of everything. He moved around, jumped and bounced to shake off the fatigue until it eased. Then he washed his face in the bathroom. When his phone read nearly 11, he opened his contacts and dialed a number labeled Zhang Chao Fan. "Hello, little brother. Business as usual tonight?" came a rough middle-aged voice. "Fried rice as usual, 6 portions, no change. Add a cold dish." "Got it." Jiang Ming shrugged, grabbed a jacket, and headed out to an old dormitory building nearby. In front of the narrow iron roll-up door, he fumbled for the key. The lock groaned, then finally gave. He pushed the rusty door open. Motion sensor lights flickered as he stepped inside, then went out. "Damn it, landlady, could you at least change a light bulb?" he muttered. A cramped staircase led down. Two people couldn't walk side by side. He used his phone as a flashlight and descended. The paint was yellowed and peeling. The air smelled musty and damp, typical basement ozone. On one wall, someone had spray-painted Certificates 136 Sex. In the corner, 3 boxes of Yuchen meat floss cakes, his online shop inventory, and the team's emergency food reserve were stacked up. The room held 5 big old monitors giving off a pale blue glow and a modeled S2 Global Finals poster. The water dispenser in the corner hummed and roared as it heated. Several young men hunched over their PCs, fingers tapping on keys, mice clicking. "Old Zhang, where's your teleport? You saving it to lay eggs?" someone cursed. Save me, this guy's got it in for me, keeps targeting me." "Stop screaming, you bark all day. The enemy keeps invading your jungle. Can't you fight back?" "Don't miss the minion, bro. If you miss that siege minion, you might as well hand it to me." Charge, charge, charge. One push, one push. It was pure national server chatter, noisy, blunt, and oddly precise. Zhang Ming felt a little helpless, but he also knew you couldn't change that language overnight. This cramped room was his esports empire. Like some others who'd started small, Zhang Ming had parlayed meager cake sales into his own team. Top, Norsha. Jungler, Stone. Mid, Yihan. Support, Door. He'd scouted and recruited them from high-ranked national server matches. Their average rating hovered around 2100. It wasn't perfect. He'd hoped to snare a star from the original world's trajectory, but it was solid. "Minggi," someone shouted. "Boss," another chimed in. "Ah, Ming." The players took off their headsets. The jungler, alerted by sharp hearing, stood at once when he saw their boss enter, a little jumpy. The rest were pulled back from the game and greeted him. Zhang Ming frowned. A pungent odor hit him. As he stepped further into the room, his eyes swept the floor and landed on something, several unextinguished cigarette butts overflowing from the trash can in the corner. Chapter 3. If you won't do it, plenty of others will. Zhang Ming's easy smile vanished in an instant. "Who smoked?" he snapped. "Didn't I say no smoking in the training room?" Top laner Song Yuan's face went pale. He jumped up. "Sorry, Mingji, I was just tired and wanted something to wake me up." "Wake you up?" Zhang Ming's finger thumped hard on the yellowed rules poster, making the 4 red characters, "No smoking," quiver. The smell of cigarette smoke hung in the damp room, mingling with the grease of takeout and instant noodles. It was the same messy ecosystem that defined esports in this era. Ideals and unruly ambition always rubbing up against each other. He snatched the cigarette pack from Song Yuan and tossed it onto the tactics board. "You think a 7.5 yuan pack of Hong Shuangxi is going to make you play like a top pro? Do you know how many restrictions the government put on internet cafes and esports after the Lanjisu fire in 2002 killed 25 students?" Song Yuan's neck flushed crimson. The daily training plan, tacked next to the board, fluttered to the floor. An Excel 97 table Zhang Ming had painstakingly made, down to the minute for last-hit tests. China's esports scene had almost been shut down after that tragedy. It had taken years to rebuild. If his own team torpedoed things now, the LPL might never get off the ground. "One more thing," Zhang Ming said, voice low and steelier. "I pay you. That makes you employees of this team. You follow the rules or you don't have a job. If you're going to be a professional, act like one. If not, get out. If you don't want it, there are plenty of other people who do." "Ming Jie, what do you mean you?" Zhang Ming cut him off. "Your parents work sewing machines in a garment factory. Their fingers get pricked by needles 3 times over to make 2,500 yuan. You sit here typing on a keyboard and you're guaranteed 1,600 a month." He wasn't lecturing about lofty principles. At the end of 2012, most teams were still in the playing for love phase, renting their venues and chasing sponsors themselves. His team, founded by a streamer who also ran an online store, provided food, lodging, and a modest 1,600 yuan salary paid on time, already top tier compared to other grassroots outfits. 3-legged frogs are rare, sure, but there were plenty of two-legged kids with dreams who'd be glad for a paid chance at pro play. For boys who dropped out of school to come here, the threat of dismissal mattered more than any sermon. Hearing Jiang Ming, Song Yuan, and the other 4 players hunched down, the blue glow of monitors reflected off 5 youthful faces. The water dispenser gurgled in the corner. They didn't understand sponsorship cycles or commercial closed loops. They only knew this basement was warmer than their hometowns. At least here there was always hot water, unlike the freezing toilets in shady internet cafes. Sorry, Minggi. I won't do it again. I'll change. Please give me another chance. Realizing he might be sacked, Song Yuan panicked. Punish me. Fine me. Whatever. Jiang Ming sighed and softened. No smoking is for your own good. I won't dwell on safety, but nicotine is a stimulant. If you get hooked now and can't smoke during a match, what then? You'll be useless on the spot. Unlike Brother Sikong, who treated this as a fun side project, Jiang Ming truly wanted to build a proper foundation. He'd pushed the team towards standardization. It wasn't a perfect club by any stretch, but it was more organized than the typical internet cafe teams. I don't just find people, he said. Today, you add 30 minutes to your basic training. Don't let it happen again. Okay, Mingge, I'll go practice solo after this. Song Yuan breathed a relieved thanks. All right, everybody, let's eat first. The fried rice they'd ordered earlier had arrived. Ranked practice for pros usually ran from 9 at night to 1 or 2 in the morning. Skipping a meal would make their heads spin. After the reprimand, the players ate in silence instead of their usual chatter. Pass me the training task sheet, Jiang Ming said, munching on 6 yuan fried rice from the Guizhou vendor while sitting at the desk with the others. He turned to Pang Ran, the team's support. How are we doing on the basics? Pang Ran replied. All the basic training tasks for today were completed with both quality and quantity. Vision placement practice during games is improving. Jiang Ming flipped through the pinned sheet. Because he needed to stream and manage his store during the day, he'd left supervision of the players' basic training to Pang Ran, though he checked in occasionally. Basic training in Season 3 was straightforward, last hitting and personal warding. Mid-game vision control was considered advanced. This was the era when someone getting over 100 CS in 10 minutes would be worshipped. For laning, passing was roughly 80 last hits in 10 minutes. Good was above 90, and elite was 100 or more. Players who hit the top tier got a 200 yuan bonus. After they finished and tossed the disposable bowls and chopsticks in the bin, Jiang Ming gathered them. The LPL is about to be established. There are only 12 spots in the preseason. We missed the city championship and media selection because the team didn't exist then. Those 4 slots aren't ours. We have to take one of the 8 qualifying spots through the online server championship. Our first match in that qualifier is tomorrow at 5 in the afternoon. We're facing the second-ranked team from War Academy's Team Q. For the rest of tonight, we focus on vision control, minion wave management, and support lane swaps. He sat at a computer and opened a recording from his D drive, motioning for everyone to circle up. Professional matches aren't pub games. Mechanics, vision, team coordination, tactics, every bit matters. Our biggest shortfall is 5v5 coordination. In the server championship, we need clean team chemistry, callouts, rotations, timing. Because the team was new and founded by a streamer who sold gear, they lacked name recognition and struggled to find scrim partners, so most of this had to be taught through videos. Still, the 5 faces in the dim room burned with attention. They remembered 3 months ago, squeezed into a VIP room at an internet cafe, 5 rigs, 3 ID cards, ducking into stalls like moles whenever the cops came by. Now they had this basement, hot water, and a slim shot at something bigger. They weren't going to waste it. Chapter 4. The shock brought by a head-of-its-time game. Understanding, everyone in the room trusted the young man in front of them almost without question. It wasn't just that Jiang Ming was their boss. More importantly, his game skill and understanding were extraordinary. To these internet-obsessed teens, he was the perfect example of someone else's kid. A college freshman who'd become a streamer with over 100,000 followers, launched a profitable online shop, and now had even founded an esports team. Oh, and he was ranked a notch above all of them on the League of Legends national server ladder. Being good at studying or making money might not impress rebellious youth, but being one of the top 3 players on their favorite game? That inspired worship. Jiang Ming knew he was being admired, but he didn't feel proud. He'd been reborn and had used future knowledge to accomplish it in just over a year. If someone else heard the whole story, they might call him the embarrassment of the reborn. He had a plan. Use the capital from his online shop, leverage his advanced understanding of the game to build a qualified LPL team, qualify through the server championship and the regional preseason, and fight for one of the 8 professional LPL slots that Tencent had set up this year. His end goal was as audacious as it was specific: step into the Staples Center in Los Angeles and face the killer version of Lee Guapi, the inhuman faker of 2013. One last thing to emphasize. Jiang Ming pulled up his meticulously organized hero tier list. Click, the power went out. The basement fell into darkness. Only the blue light from phone screens cut through it. Jiang Ming kept talking as if he had expected it. Blackouts were part of the weekly routine in their old building. While he and the team prepared for the server championship, the Shadowstream Lord tutorial he'd uploaded had already started making noise online. At University Town's Zulong Internet Cafe, the air conditioning hummed and mechanical keyboards clattered. "Still no update," someone shouted. "Still nothing." Lin Xiao refreshed the author page on Muku for the 17th time. The fat guy to his right slurped his instant noodles and complained between mouthfuls, "It's been 3 days." "Correction, 2 days and 1 minute, the lanky roommate argued. "You guys are too impatient. The hero's only been out for 2 days. Even a master needs time to learn it," said another friend in the corner. "Ah Ming's tutorials come from 2200 plus ranked games. Of course he's slow. Are you guys gonna play or what? If not, I'll hop into a round." "Wait a bit. Yesterday, Ah Ming said on his YY stream that he'd post the new hero tutorial early this morning. The plays he showed were insane. I've got a feeling this new hero will be my main." "Haha, fatty, you say that every time. When have you not given up because it's too hard to play?" "It's not the hero's fault. It's the player. Give him Zed and he'll turn into Kid Zed." Lin Xiao didn't join the bickering. His knuckle kept tapping F5. From the computer opposite, kill announcements rose and fell. Lin Xiao's mind replayed clips from Ah Ming's live stream. The new assassin, Shadowstream Lord, had a unique, deadly feel. "The formless blade is terrifying," he remembered. "When he's on screen, it's like someone is already dead before they know it." On the 18th press, the refresh key produced a red notification that bloomed across his screen like a midnight flower. "Updated." Lin Xiao's voice cracked from excitement. 2 heads bent over at once. The instant noodles were abandoned mid-slurp. The lanky guy who'd been in a game immediately quit, opened the video site, and glued himself to the loading screen like someone watching a forbidden action scene. The video's thumbnail wore Jiang Ming's iconic blue and gold color scheme, and even before Shadowstream Lord, How to Level Up from Kid Zed to Hokage finished loading, the view counter had already climbed into 5 digits. "How many night owls were waiting for this?" the fat guy muttered. A few seats away, a guy with noise-canceling headphones ripped them off and shouted, "Damn! Ah Ming updated his tutorial." The sound hit the room like a shockwave. A chair thumped over in the back row. Somebody in the middle of a ranked team fight flailed, collided with a wall in their chair, and craned their neck to see what everyone else was watching. It wasn't an exaggeration. League of Legends had become a phenomenon on the national server, and a high-ranked player's guide was gold. In dorms and at internet cafes, top players got privileges, overnights paid, instant noodle toppings bought. So when a master uploaded a new hero guide, players mobbed it. Comments scrolled and voices piled up. "Ah Ming finally updated. Can those Kid Zeds who insta-lock new heroes in ranked please go watch this? The hero just dropped and there's already a tutorial?" Of course, this blogger's a top 5 national server player. Is Bloodthirster core on this guy? I saw some streamers say that. Nah, that streamer's a clown. Ah Ming's the real deal. AD, CDR, Armor Pen, skill assassins favor Black Cleaver, that's why. Zed's burst is insane. The combo of auto plus W and R is basically like 3 people hitting you. 4 stages of displacement, totally outplaying enemies. 2,300-point games look no different from our 1,000-point games. He even guesses the jungler's position from monster spawn timers. How is that even possible? They couldn't catch this Zed. He just shoved lanes and vanished. Hiss, this is sick. I need 6,300 IP. If I don't have enough, I'll buy with RP. Shadowstream Lord's Shockblade skin is so cool, I want it. Buy? Dude, use Duo box. Free skins and rank points convert to combat power. Really? Really? The video loaded, and the internet cafe erupted in simultaneous awe and envy, all centered on one streamer and a new hero he seemed to have already mastered. Chapter 5. Go Home and Raise Pigs. Zhujiang Road Internet Cafe. Among a forest of CRT monitors, a small congregation had gathered at a corner computer. On a makeshift stand made of 3 packs of Hong Nanjing cigarettes, a phone screen replayed Zed's tower dive in slow motion. When the kill marker flashed, the crowd behind the desk inhaled as one. Rewind, rewind and watch the energy control, the manager shouted, squeezing through the people. His hair was dyed yellow. Sweat blurred the spray-painted Noxian guillotine on his t-shirt. This guy definitely used a script. Who can calculate energy to a single digit? Nobody argued. Everyone watched breathlessly as Jiang Ming demonstrated what he called shadow scouting. The instant W connected with E and triggered energy recovery. Zed pivoted at a razor angle, narrowly avoiding the blind monk's sonic wave with the precision of a compass-drawn arc. Damn, that move is going on my brag list for 3 years. A boy playing Master Yi yelled, slamming his keyboard so hard the spacebar's spring flew across the room. The manager made a mental note. No slamming keyboards during league video sessions, to add to tomorrow's cafe rules. As the progress bar reached the equipment analysis segment, a bleary-eyed kid from the back tapped Lin Xiao on the shoulder. 2 kids at the end of the overnight queue had been watching. The one in front rubbed his hands together. Hey, can you mirror this to the cafe's big screen? We'll pay for your internet time. Sure, no problem. When the replay hit the big screen, everyone waiting to queue up crowded in. This guy's insane, someone said. If Jiang Ming wasn't busy streaming, he'd probably be the #1 on the national server. He learns new heroes ridiculously fast. People who paid attention to new heroes knew they were numerical monsters at release, perfect for climbing before nerfs. But mastering a new hero isn't just learning abilities. The nuances and timing take time. That made Jiang Ming's performance even more shocking. By the 3rd day after a new champion's release, he was already dominating high elo matches, and the video showed him dissecting the champion's mechanics entirely. As the replay spread across video sites and views climbed, countless players marveled at Jiang Ming's talent and depth of game sense. Within days, his new hero tutorial had even reached pro players. Shanghai WE Training Base. The IPL 5 championship trophy glinted coldly in front of the tactical whiteboard. A row of computers lined the room. At one sat a young man with a bowl cut, queuing for match after match. Ming Kai had just finished a ranked game and hit queue again. Top-of-server ladder players needed a huge volume of games to keep their ranking intact. His mouse wheel made a faint scratching sound. On his monitor, Shadowstream Lord, Jiang Ming's in-game name, moved through the wolf's wall at an unusual angle. At the 47-second mark, Ming Kai tapped space to freeze the frame on a ward placed 0.3 seconds before the enemy jungler's death. This guy's awareness is insane, the support Wan Mao said, tearing a pack of snacks open and leaning closer. Cucumber-flavored crumbs scattered on his WE mousepad. Want some? Jiang Ming's voice explained in the video. In this situation, you must not physically enter the brush to scout. If someone's in there, Shadow plus E will let Zed regain energy. In the replay, the Shadow clone followed by a Blade Surge tied energy recovery to spatial information. Zed moved with tiny steps, sidestepping the sonic wave that came from the fog of war and foiling the blind monk's gank before it even started. Ming Kai paused on another detail. At 25/13, Jiang Ming pinged Baron 3 times. At that moment, the enemy jungler had just recalled to buy a control ward. Ming Kai pulled up a training match replay against KT and found the same ping at the same timestamp. The team's main mid laner had done exactly the same thing. This awareness, Ming Kai muttered around his instant noodles. It's unreal. Shadowstream Lord might be the darling of the new season. Wan Mao said. Our global style got nerfed to dust. Ming Kai drew an X by Z on the tactical board. Where's Ruo Feng? How's his assassin practice going? He had an event all day. He and Wei Xiao are both asleep. I haven't checked on them, Wan Mao replied. Ming Kai grumbled. He couldn't snap at Wan Mao, who got along with him, so the irritation stayed simmering. If you're bad and don't practice more, what's the point of being a pro? Might as well go home and raise pigs. From the doorway, an incisive voice cut through. Abu pushed in carrying a stack of documents and the latest edition of the Esports Manager Qualification Exam syllabus. Ming Kai glanced back, but stayed silent, focused on the screen. This video blogger you're watching, Ming Kai, I've been following him. He's a very skilled mid with a deep understanding of mechanics, Abu said. He figures out new champions in 2 days for the past 6 months. Should we try to recruit him to WE? Abu suggested. Wan Mao laughed outright. What are you thinking? He's the top LOL tutor on the scene. His YY live streams sometimes pull more viewers than we do. A fan once said he's a student at Jinling University. You think he'd drop everything and come be a pro like us? IG tried to invite him. Actually, Abu continued, they probably want his game sense as part of a coach-like role. IG? Wan Mao looked surprised. Isn't Zitai their mid? They're not replacing him, are they? Not necessarily replacing. Teams are beefing up coaching staffs. IG probably wanted to see if they'd recruit him in some capacity. Did Jiangming agree? No. Abu flipped through his papers. Last week, during a live stream, Jiangming openly recruited high elo players and formed a team called NXG. Looks like he wants to run his own team into the pro scene. Ming Kai and Wan Mao were both stunned. If you could be your own boss and build your own team, why bother being a salaried pro? Seems like he made a killing selling those floss buns, Wan Mao sighed. Every one of his videos is tight, high elo play with detailed commentary. Views start in the hundreds of thousands. Even if 1% buy something from his shop, that's massive. Hearing mention of Jiangming's online store, Abu lit up. His business model is something a lot of people are watching. Drive traffic with streams and videos, then funnel viewers to a Taobao shop. It's a big monetization avenue for teams. Taobao, monetization, floss buns. Juan Mao scrolled on his phone. He's not just selling floss buns. I checked his store, snacks, peripherals, trendy clothing. He's probably pulling in over 100,000 a month. Abu's tone held envy. As expected of a top Jinling University student, Jiang Ming's head for business was sharp. A university kid making that kind of money, no wonder the pro scene was buzzing. Juan Mao suddenly remembered something and dug through his order history. The floss buns I ordered last week, they shipped from Jinling University Entrepreneurship Park. Wait, shit, he sent trial samples to the WE base. The room fell into a brief, incredulous silence as they all looked at one another. Chapter 6. NXG Team, December 1st, 17 sharp. Jiang Ming's QQ suddenly erupted with a piercing notification. The LPL preseason organizer had posted in the LPL preseason promotion tournament workgroup. All teams prepare to enter the match server. Change your team prefix uniformly before entering the game. Jiang Ming's voice cut through the clack of mechanical keyboards. If you've already decided on your pro IDs, don't switch them at the last minute. Understood, Ming Ge. Mid laner Wu Qiqiang answered first. He deftly searched the match server store for a rename card and typed the ID his fingers already knew by heart, NXG Yihan. The team name, NXG, had been Jiang Ming's idea, short for Nexus Vanguard, a tactical term he nicked from the Protoss Mothership Core in StarCraft. Wow, so much RP. I could buy all the skins I couldn't afford before, Support Pang Ran said, eyes brightening. After changing his name, he immediately started browsing the store. Back then, before big salaries and sponsorships, Pang Ran and his teammates subsisted on meager pay, 1,000 or 2 a month, and had only ever dreamed of cosmetics. The multiplay box program had become a must-have in internet cafes. It let you show off, offered pro guides, and most importantly, changed skins with a click. The other 3 players stayed quiet, buying rune pages and attribute runes. Skins could wait until later. Top laner Song Yuan was still tinkering with his 12th rune page, dedicated to high burst damage in lane, 3 flat armor marks, 6 scaling armor marks, 3 large quintessences. Jiang Ming felt satisfied. This version of the game still required runes and masteries to be allocated beforehand. It wasn't the integrated system that would come later. That's why early players who watched high ELO streamers or pro matches always saw long lists of rune pages with notes. Because of the team's tight budget, Jiang Ming had only permitted them 10 rune pages on their personal accounts. But on the match server, he'd splurged, match accounts with hundreds of thousands of RP. It would have been a dereliction of duty, he thought, not to let them use those resources for practice. 1 minute until the match starts. A referee tagged everyone in the LPL preseason promotion tournament group. The offline portion of the tournament used a single round-robin point system, but the crossover between servers was messy. The top 2 teams from each of the 14 servers would be shuffled and matched, first place from one server versus second place from another. Winners then drew opponents from teams with the same points, while the losers drew from the 0-1 pool. It was a crude prototype of what later became the Swiss system. After 5 rounds, the 8 teams with the highest points across the pools would qualify for the LPL preseason. Those 12 teams in the preseason would play another round-robin and then a double elimination bracket to determine the final 6, which, together with the top 2 from the Third City League, would make up the first LPL. Before Jiang Ming could ponder the bracket further, the referee had already created the room, pulled everyone in, assigned positions, and started the game. No device check, Jiang Ming grumbled inwardly. What if someone uses the multiplay box for one-click timing? Would they be disqualified? They loaded into the match. The enemy's name, QX. Jiang Ming scanned the purple side's IDs. None were familiar, not surprising. Players who would later become pros rarely spent time dominating a lesser server's ranked queues. NXG, as the top team in their server, had side priority. Jiang Ming picked blue. Mingge, who do we ban? Song Yuan asked. He was in the first pick slot. In this version, the first pick was the de facto captain and handled all 3 bans, which explained why many solo queue players begged desperately to be first pick. Shen, Jarvan 4, Vayne, Jiang Ming decided after a moment. He liked to play it safe and ban the hot, high win rate champions when there was no reliable intel on the opponents. Song Yuan confirmed and locked the bans. The purple side, QX, finished their bans simultaneously. Twisted Fate, Janna, Ezreal. First pick, get the jungler for Shi Zhenyu, Song Yuan said. I'm fine with anything. I'll listen to Ming Gi, the jungler replied. Shi Zhenyu, nicknamed Stone, shook his head at the top laner's offer. Since joining Ming's team, he'd felt the difference. Same shabby internet cafe vibe, but with regimented salaries, daily management, and targeted training. Playing professionally wasn't 5-man ranked chaos. There were systems, roles, and discipline. Stone had that feeling. This team did things properly. They'd won IPL 5, Abu in dozens of tactics. He could feel those subtle standards influencing their practice. Pick Blind Monk first, Jiang Ming instructed. In the S3 preseason, Jungle Gold was scarce, and the role wasn't yet the absolute carry position it would become in later seasons. Junglers either needed to secure early tempo, Elise or Lee Sin, or provide team utility with little gold, Jarvan 4, Amumu. First picking Lee Sin secured jungle flexibility and avoided handing the enemy early lanes to exploit. At the same time, in an internet cafe's private room somewhere in Guangdong, smoke curled up around a different battle. The red-haired captain of QX slammed his palm on the table. Give me Zed. That JM guy makes tutorial videos. I practiced 50 games in 3 days. Why can't I do it? But we haven't practiced the shadow swap combo to finish him off, the support warned weakly. What are you scared of? The ADC barked. Do you know how much this cafe bet on us? 20 packs of Red Nanjing cigarettes. Chapter 7. Where is the promised invincible new hero? Zed. Aya, better to play it safe. There's a 98% chance we'll lose, and if we don't even make it into the LPL preseason, all this is for nothing. When QX confidently locked in Zed as their first pick, Jiang Ming, who wanted a safe plan for the first match, chose a battle mage for mid that could answer him. Pick Gragas, he said, pushing the mid lane chair back. And remember to bring some flat armor runes. Both teams locked in quickly. Blue Team NXG, top Renekton jungler Lee Sin, mid Gragas, bot Caitlyn and Sona. Purple Team QX, top Shyvana, jungler Olaf, mid Zed, bot Graves and Tarek. Jiang Ming's mouth twitched. He'd overlooked one truth. At this level of league, even aspiring pros without the pressure of an established training system usually chose champions based on current meta strength or personal comfort picks, not on elaborate strategies. In QX's voice chat, the Zed player who'd instantly picked the champion was overflowing with confidence. Brothers, let's smash those Zone 1 dogs and show them the power of our war college. Hehe, my great blade is thirsty. It's their bad luck we're matched with them. If the internet cafe hadn't lost power the day before yesterday, we'd be rank 1 at the war college. Everyone give it your all. This is the first match of our future pro careers. Let's make a name for ourselves. My Olaf will crush their Lee Sin. Watch my top Shyvana get tanky and chase down Renekton. Bottom lane, we're pure men, solid. Their headsets filled with grand declarations. As captain, the mid player waved and imitated the in-game announcement. All units advance. 10 minutes later, the cheerful shouting in the private room had dwindled. The 5 players' faces grew flushed as if the air conditioner had been set too cold. Jiang Ming and his NXG team were quietly curing the internet-addicted youngsters of their professional dreams. At 1:17 into the game, NXG's bot, mid, and jungler slipped into the red jungle through the river. A ward placed by support Pang Ran in the F4 brush perfectly tracked Olaf's movement. It was Jiang Ming's specially trained 90-degree vision block, using the fog of war edge to create blind spots. As Olaf watched helplessly, his smite still on a 3-second cooldown, Lee Sin had already stolen the jungle camp and walked back with the buff. Mingi's ward timing is divine. NXG's AD player, stared at the minimap. Each of them kept a handwritten ward timetable stained with instant noodle water, the notes reading, respawn 155, disappear 410. With Olaf silenced in the jungle, NXG pushed in all 3 lanes. Top Renekton displayed textbook wave control. Whenever Shyvana tried to last hit with Flame Breath, Renekton timed Cull the Meek to hit both champion and minions, clearing the wave, healing himself, poking Shyvana, and keeping the wave in a perfect state of equilibrium. After several waves, Shyvana's minion count was stuck around 23, while Renekton already pushed to chip at the tower. With their health lower, Shyvana's last hitting suffered, and NXG had no intention of letting her recover. After cleaning his red camp, Lee Sin returned to top, and with Renekton's help, they killed the level 3 Shyvana under her turret. The bottom lane's damage was even more brutal. Level 3 burst? What burst? By level 2, they were already out of health. Caitlyn used her 650 range to place 3 traps in front of the minion wave, forming a triangular minefield. When Graves had to use quick draw to dodge, Sona suddenly hit exhaust. Damn, is he sick? He exhausted me at full health. Graves stared at his screen, baffled at how his quick draw had been traded away by Sona's exhaust. QX's captain looked at his proud Zed, now moving like a clumsy puppet. Every time he engaged with Shadow Dash, Gragas would guzzle drunken rage, and the damage reduction left Zed's shurikens feeling like tickles. And just when his energy was about to run out, that blasted fat man would always time barrel roll perfectly. Wasn't the new champion supposed to be invincible? He slammed his keyboard. Less than 10 minutes in, the purple team was completely on the back foot. Is the air conditioning on too high? The QX mid asked, dabbing sweat from his brow toward the support in the corner. Huh? Tarek's player looked up. Captain, is 22 degrees too cold in winter? I'm even a little chilly in my feet. Then is your face hot? Yeah, a bit hot. Back in NXG's voice chat, the commentary was clinical. S2 towers really are meaningless. Zed was strong at release, but he can't stand up to an even more chaotic Gragas. With a 0.9A ratio on his Q, Gragas hits like a truck. Tarek Graves, after their burst got nerfed, their range is too short. Standing behind them and watching, Jiang Ming felt like laughing, partly at his own overcaution in the pick phase, and partly at pity for the 5 QX players. They weren't losing because of mechanics alone, they were being schooled on game understanding. They dreamed of roaming the world with a sword, but 2 of them had fallen right outside the village. Whether it was lucky or unlucky to meet NXG in their first pro match was hard to say. Our opponents feel so weak, Song Yuan scratched his head, staring at the Shyvana he'd out-farmed by nearly 30 minions. It's not that they're weak, Pang Ran said calmly. It's that we're playing smarter. Mingay taught us a deeper understanding of the game. They have no concept of wave control. It's all mechanics and no sense. The short-range Graves had been contained by Caitlin and Pangran for nearly 3 minutes, and Olaf hadn't managed to help. If it had been their team, Shi Zhenyu would probably have been flamed to death by Mingay. Then let's take our time, Jiang Ming said. It's a good chance to practice coordination. The further we go, the tougher opponents will be. Okay, buy more wards when you can. Ease the pressure on me. There's no sightstone yet, and I don't have the money. The players' discussion reminded Jiang Ming of a retired pro's lament from his past life. Back in S3, supports were either buying wards or on the way to buy wards. In the early days of League, the support's life had been miserable. With few income sources and a constant need to buy vision, supports often entered late game with only 1 or 2 meager completed items. That was how the saying, "the fifth pick doesn't support," was born in solo queue. Chapter 8. I voted, I initiated it. Riot realized this problem too. In Season 3, they increased support income and added Sightstone to fill the endless hole that was vision duty. But when Riot tried to plug that abyss with Sightstone, they clearly underestimated how bloodthirsty the Season 3 meta would be. That emerald item, able to hold only 4 wards, was torn to shreds by Zed's shurikens, Kha'Zix's claws, and Ahri's Orb of Deception as soon as it hit Summoner's Rift. In that era, later nicknamed Assassin's Reign, the Dawn support players had been hoping for was crushed by the cold flash of blades. Back in the match, a team with professional-level vision awareness, playing 2 or 3 seasons ahead of everyone else, ran away with the advantage. QX's 5 players were predictably doomed. At 7 minutes, the top outer turret fell. At 8 minutes, NXG collapsed on the bot lane, catching the enemy ADC and his Taric support. Olaf the jungler even came down humming a song about where the jungle monsters had gone. Kills, tower pushes, dragon steals. In this small LPL preseason qualifier, NXG taught their opponents what it meant to be utterly smashed. With vision control and the jungle lit up like a billboard, kill notifications rolled in from the side lanes. QX's captain tried to fight back, but when he charged in, thinking he'd isolated the enemy carry and popped his ultimate, Sona's crescendo and a perfectly timed Lee Sin kick out of a fogged bush dragged him back to reality. By 20 minutes, they hadn't even seen Baron. QX was steamrolled, 13 kills to 1, and chose to surrender. Voted. This is unplayable. I already cast mine. Whoever hasn't, hurry up. I voted. Captain, don't look at me. I initiated the vote. Victory. As the purple nexus exploded on screen, 5 young men in a cramped basement erupted into the purest cheers. Woo, first game's ours. First win, easy. Tsk, almost a perfect shutout. We're so strong. Maybe they were just terrible. Not a single one of them could actually play. Haha, you should have seen that Shyvana. Tried to trade while tower diving with the quickness and could only auto minions. The support was the worst. I could tell where he warded just by where I walked. This was only online. If this were LAN, I'd ask that support if he even knew how to play. By the way, do you guys even look for wards with your eyes? Jiang Ming stood behind them, smiling at the raw, uncomplicated energy of esports and feeling relieved. He hadn't recruited established stars when NXG formed. The budget didn't allow poaching expensive players, and seasoned pros often came with bad habits. It was better to grow a team from scratch. These 5 weren't prodigies, but they were coachable. Heh, Mingji, let me explain. I really couldn't back off on that last kill. The opponent wanted to trade, one of them offered. And we were joking earlier. We won't type insults in chat, promise. They only remembered their boss's presence after they'd logged out. The NXG handbook forbade verbally taunting opponents. Jiang Ming didn't want to ruin the mood. Good job, everyone. Stretch, drink water, go to the restroom if you need to. Old shoe, do we have drinks? Yes, Ming-Gay bought 82 Sprite. Want some? Cola's not my thing, but an 82 Sprite, definitely one of those. Of the 24 teams, NXG finished fastest. Since they had to wait for the second round draw, Jiang Ming used the downtime to pull up the replay and do a quick review while the others handled personal stuff. Ming-Gay, do we need to review a game this dominant? Shi Zhenyu asked. He'd only recently learned what a review was, watching replays to find errors and lessons. Until now, they'd only reviewed losses. Why review a win? Even in a win, you can learn a lot. Our own faults and the opponent's mistakes, Jiang Ming said, dragging the timeline to level 1 river positions. For example, here, the enemy bot duo was already in our vision. They wanted to force an early level 2. You guys on the top side of the jungle could have countered directly. A lot of your movements in between were wasted. Shi Zhenyu, your jungle camp respawn timing is off. Your error margin is too big, he added bluntly. And the level 3 top dive was sloppy. Any more experienced player could have avoided it or even turned it into a counter kill. Song Yuan scratched his face, wanting to ask if Jiang Ming included himself among those experienced players, but he kept quiet. The review focused on practical team things: synergy, ward placement, wave management. You can't master everything overnight. In late 2012 on the national servers, most players were still discovering champion mechanics. The higher ranked simply had better awareness and mechanics. About 20 minutes later, the staff posted the second round opponent in the group chat. Your next match is against Kinku Order's top-ranked pre-made. Didn't their server's ladder cap around 2200? How did they win their first game? Maybe they got matched on Crystal Scar. The level at those first LPL qualifiers was strange. Kinku Order and Crystal Scar were new servers with few high-level players. Compared to NXG, this pre-made was even weaker than the previous match's opponents, so NXG played heavy and fast. By 10 minutes, all 3 lanes were crushed. Shi Zhenyu's jungler supporting role wasn't needed. His solo lanes were racking up kills, leaving him alone in the jungle, either trying to strike a deal with the enemy spider player for 300 gold, or asking Mr. Dragon for some change. At 16 minutes, NXG's gold lead exceeded 10,000. With super minions pushing high ground, the Kinku Order team couldn't hold. By 20 minutes, their nexus lay in ruins. On the post-game screen, NXG had 1.8 times the minion kills of their opponents. A stat that, in later years, might have prompted accusations, but this was 2012, and new server mismatches were common: 2 wins and 0 losses. With 2 straight victories, NXG already had 1 foot in the LPL preseason promotion zone. Chapter 9, the tape is about to smoke. Everyone, come here. Before leaving, Jiang Ming had the whole team gather around him. Mingge, what? Huh? When the red bills were pulled out of the craft paper bag, the rustling sound froze everyone in place. Mingge, what is this? It's December now, so I'm paying everyone their November salaries. But today is only the 1st, Xu Jing, the team's AD, muttered weakly, earning death glares from the 4 people beside him. No, seriously, are you dense? Isn't getting paid early a good thing? Right, that actually sounds great. Why did I hesitate? Jiang Ming smiled and handed out the money, split up for each player. Take it. You've earned it. I won't play any games with you. From now on, our salaries will be paid at the start of each month. That way, you don't have to worry about the team suddenly disbanding and owing you money. In that case, Mingge is joking. Our team can't possibly disband. Nothing's impossible. If we play badly and results are terrible, why wouldn't we disband? To lay eggs. Jiang Ming said with a deadpan face. Your salaries won't be shortchanged. The bonuses we promised for making the preseason and the LPL regular season will be paid on time and in full as the team progresses. I have one condition. During competitions, strengthen your self-management and make sure you keep up basic skills and do proper warm-ups before matches. Only by getting into the LPL can you truly move from being a casual player to a professional and realize your value. Understood. X5. Back when the team trained in the basement on that makeshift stage, Jiang Ming couldn't demand much. It wasn't just a question of whether the players could accept higher standards. The team didn't have the management structure for it. He was busy with live streaming, the team, school, and his online store, so for the short term, all he could do was offer some motivational talk. Not that he believed empty pep talks could conquer the world. What mattered on this land of China was the speed of making money. The faster the cash flow and the bigger the funds, the less worried he'd be about the players' follow-through. Coming out of the underground training room, Jiang Ming bumped his head again on the low hallway and swore under his breath. Damn it, when we make it into the LPL, first thing I do is get a team base. It didn't have to be luxurious. A basic above-ground space would do. The basement had no windows. Winter was tolerable, but summer was unbearable, and the smell of athlete's foot permeating the room after 2 games was enough to make anyone faint. But the biggest problem is funding, he muttered, walking briskly back to his rented room. I can get someone to look for a venue. With how esports are developing in China, a modest club base is fine. A 1- or 2-story building with a training room, a player rest area, and basic living facilities will be enough. He ran the numbers in his head as he walked. All right, I'll go back to school tomorrow. Can't waste my title of outstanding student entrepreneur. Maybe I can get the dean to chip in. After all, the dean had been his entrepreneurial advisor. If a student really had a problem, it was reasonable to ask for help, right? Between his online store that gave part-time work to struggling students and the scholarship he sponsored for economics and management majors every semester, the dean had no reason to say no. Thinking about it cheered Jiang Ming up. He'd learned something. At this stage, his biggest ally wasn't other people so much as the university itself. A university is where ordinary people can come into contact with high-level resources. If it seems distant, it's because you haven't made yourself valuable enough. Once you're strong, you find your alma mater is often happy to provide financial help, venues, and connections. The night passed uneventfully. The next morning, Jiang Ming left early so as not to disturb his teammates, whose schedules were different from ordinary people's. He only stopped to greet the restaurant owner and remind him to deliver lunch to the team around noon. With a small business, every saving helped. A cook could wait. After they made the LPL and had a couple of sugar daddies, then they'd hire staff. Where to? The taxi driver rolled down his window. Jinling University. All right. The driver didn't ask more and focused on the road. The winter sun was warm, throwing flecks of gold across the white path through the campus gates. Jiang Ming arrived at the University Entrepreneurship Park and walked into a small shop called Mingjing Domain. Bronze wind chimes tinkled above the door. Inside, the layout was simple. 2 rows of shelves down the center held snacks popular with students, while the wall shelves were packed with digital gadgets. A freshman in a dark blue apron was restocking. Beep, beep. Hey, Lin Sheiji, new order. The part-time clerk called toward the back. Got it, got it. Ah! When Jiang Ming gets back, I'm definitely getting a raise. This is exploitation. 2,000 orders a day. I'm about to burn out the tape. He's going to heaven. Shuiji, don't badmouth people behind their backs. Jiang Ming walked up to the counter. The junior on duty had just torn a receipt off the printer and was heading to the warehouse. Inside, goods were stacked high. Lin Sheiji, who'd been complaining, was now elbow-deep in packing with several other part-timers. A rich scent of pastries floated from the boxes. Jiang Ming leaned in to help sort and glanced at the labels. Pork floss pastries, every single one. The shop actually had 3 rooms. Besides the small general store open to the campus, the 2 back rooms were the real business. Orders from the online store, apart from a few specialty items, were shipped from here. Oh, finally decided to come inspect your empire today? One of the part-timers teased. Cough, I've been busy making videos and promoting a new round of shop items. You see, our orders have exploded, Jiang Ming replied. Exploded? Explode. Lin Sheiji deftly pulled the tape and sealed a package in 5 seconds flat, eyes narrowed with mock resentment. Do you know how many packages we've packed since yesterday after you posted your video? 2,000 orders. 2,000. Thousands of packages. Chapter 10. Jiang Boss, you don't want to. When I applied, it clearly said, Financial Assistant. Lin Jingyi slammed the express boxes onto the table. The tape tore with a screech. And now, I'm maintaining the financial system, reconciling inventory, and recording customer service voice messages. What Jiang Boss is planning to give me an Employee of the Month trophy? Jiang Ming listened and knew he was in the wrong. He hurried forward to steady the teetering stack of boxes and with a flattering smile handed her a cup of milk tea he'd bought on the way. Calm down, Director Lin. We'll hire people, today. We'll post in the campus groups, on the confession wall, and on the cafeteria board. As for salary, he waited until she stood up and then leaned in, making a small hand gesture. Money matters. Let's discuss privately. What could he do if this hardworking, undemanding, all-purpose assistant quit? Where would he find another college student so capable and so cheap? the one who only needed 3,000 yuan a month. Lin handled finance, doubled as his assistant and logistics manager, and when it got busy, she could even fill in for customer service and reassure buyers. "Dear, all the items in our store are brand name guaranteed." His eagerness to hire more staff wasn't just placating her. With League of Legends entering S3 and Tencent's promotions driving traffic, the store needed more hands. And part-time packing work among students was cheap, 10 to 15 yuan an hour, almost nothing compared to what Lin already did. Despite her complaints, looking at the crafty junior in front of her, Lin Jingyi couldn't help smiling through her irritation. Who had trained this guy to be so capable? While their classmates worried about CET4 and CET6, Jiang Ming had already led a team of part-timers to turn a school warehouse full of broken desks into an online store that shipped over 500 orders a day, driven by gaming video promotions. The freshman part-timers nearby watched respectfully, envious and curious about this legendary senior from the School of Economics and Management. A store with daily sales over 10,000 yuan meant hundreds of thousands a month. After costs, that still added up to 1 million a year. An ordinary sophomore, starting with a bit of school support, raking in 1 million a year, it was impossible not to be impressed. "Our daily orders are increasing. This small team simply can't handle it," Lin said, pulling out the inventory sheet and slapping it on the table. "Customer service needs 3 shifts, morning, afternoon, evening. The warehousing team must have 2 guys for moving stock. And most importantly," her pen jabbed at the soaring sales curve, "if we don't expand the warehouse, tomorrow we'll be packing orders on the playground." "Zhang boss, you wouldn't want your online store to be packing and shipping outdoors, would you?" Cough, cough. "Senior, please tone down the dramatics." Jiang Ming nodded repeatedly, taking notes, and then gratefully said, "Thanks for the heads up, senior. I'm going to take care of all this in one go." "Talk is cheap. Don't just draw big pictures when you're so young." Lin rolled her eyes. "We have a good relationship, sure, but I'll still fight for what I deserve. Don't think you can freeload." Haha, of course not. Even though he agreed to raise salaries, other structural improvements would have to be done step by step. Starting a business as a college student had its pros and cons. The pro, the school provided startup funds and 2 basement floors for the warehouse. The original storefront arrangement existed so leaders could inspect it at any time to stop him from using Jinling University's name to sell anything that might damage the school's reputation. Snacks, esports peripherals, clothing were fine, but if he tried to peddle some odd local specialty from Guanyun, Lianyungang, the dean would lose face. The issue was that school support could only go so far. The college couldn't hand over unlimited resources to one student. Once 2 warehouses were no longer enough, should he move the operation off campus or ask the school for more space? And what about employees? People from outside the university wouldn't work for student wages. Truthfully, Jiang Ming admitted he couldn't bear to give up the proactive, cheap fellow students he'd recruited. "I hope this operating an esports club under the emerging esports industry proposal can impress my mentor," he thought, weighing the thick manuscript in his hand. If he'd been at an ordinary university, convincing the administration to expand entrepreneurial support would be easy. A sophomore who'd built a 1 million yuan a year venture would be a prized success story. But Jinling University was different. Prestigious, influential. Mid to top-tier universities might not see his online store as anything more than a small business. What could change that was tying it to an emerging industry with enormous scale. For school leaders, phrases like key industry support vision could make all the difference. This time, he wasn't asking for money. He wanted the Jinling University brand, a talisman that would open doors once he built an esports club and aimed for the LPL. Having the school's backing versus having none was a world of difference. It's easier to deal with the king of hell than with 1,000 petty problems. As an ordinary person, he'd cling to his alma mater's big leg. What were his intentions? He wanted to create jobs for future students. He wanted the title of an outstanding graduate for himself and an outstanding entrepreneur mentor title for his teacher. And of course, to give his alma mater the accolade of a pilot base for a new field. With that decided, Jiang Ming's steps quickened. He picked up the tea and the packet of tea leaves he'd brought and headed for his teacher's office. Knock, knock. Come in. After 2 knocks, the middle-aged man at the desk looked up and called, a subtle smile at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 11. Just know how to call for backup. The next second, a hand holding tea leaves slipped in through the doorway, and Jiang Ming's chuckling voice followed. Heh, teacher. It's only been a few days. Your student missed you. I came to visit. The middle-aged man in the office took a sip of tea, but didn't look up, eyes glued to his computer. His expression said the world's affairs could not wait. Jiang Ming knew better than to push his luck. His teacher was annoyed. He hurried inside, set the tea leaves he'd picked up on the table, and leaned in. Teacher? My dearest teacher Yu, he declared in an exaggerated tone. My most handsome and beloved Professor Yu from the College of Economics and Management. Yu Qin nearly choked on his tea. He looked at his glib student, half exasperated and half amused. You and that mouth of yours. Tell me, what trouble are you up to now? Come on, what do you want this time, busy man? Where are you? Ignoring your little corner shop and those game live streams of yours. Oh, did you fail a course and come begging for mercy? How could that be? Jiang Ming lied breezily. You could at least visit me for no reason. You just missed me. You're the stabilizing force of our college, the guiding light for student entrepreneurship. Stop flattering me. Don't fail any classes. Just avoiding retakes would spare me a lot of grief. If there's nothing else, should I go? Yes. It's about my entrepreneurship. Yukun frowned. I thought your online shop was doing well, live streams, converting followers into sales. The school can't do much for something that already runs online. As Jiang Ming's entrepreneurial mentor, he'd read the student's business model. Among the usual campus startups, milk tea stalls, fruit stands, print shops, Jiang Ming had gone into emerging e-commerce, which was unusual enough to be interesting. If the shop was healthy, the kid should be busy refining its structure. Why was he here pestering his teacher? Jiang Ming put on a serious expression and produced a business plan from his bag. Operation of esports clubs and the future prospects of esports socialization in the emerging esports industry. The moment Yukun saw the title, his expression shifted. Minutes passed with only the rustle of turning pages in the office. Inside the dean of Jinling University's College of Economics and Management, a mental storm was gathering. 100 calculations and verifications ran through his head. He frowned at times, nodded at others, and finally let out a long sigh. What an attention economy. Kid, you really know how to work traffic. Esports, he murmured. Professionalization, network development, youth social platforms, live streaming traffic, e-commerce. One technical term after another rolled from the professor's lips. Jiang Ming stood politely, waiting for guidance. Yukun adjusted his glasses. E-commerce isn't unfamiliar to us. We've had an e-commerce major since 2001. But from this plan, it looks like your campus colleagues haven't grasped it as deeply as you have, even after years of study. At first, I was confused about how your game live streams, video creation, and e-commerce fit together, he continued. Now I see. In your terms, it's the fan economy. No, fan economy is too shallow. It's a mix: attention economy, creator economy, influence economy, Jiang Ming said, eyes bright. Exactly, Yukun said. It's the influence economy riding on attention. He took off his glasses and rubbed his temples, impressed. You see the commercial core of esports right away. Venue, qualifications, talent, those are manageable. But you must understand the gaming industry is still controversial in the public eye. As an economics and management professor, he appreciated this new force that could reshape parts of the economy. Jiang Ming eagerly interrupted. That's why we need the college's support. If our club succeeds, it could become a model of industry-academia integration. Quit sweet-talking me, Yukun replied with a smile. Still, this is a good research direction. You planning to use this for your thesis? Jiang Ming teased. Yukun wanted to smack the business plan on the table like a cigarette pack at his unfilial student. How had he been persuaded last year, after a public lecture discussion, to take this boy under his wing for graduate studies? Now the student had turned entrepreneurial and come back with a serious plan. I'll need practical material first, the professor said. Maybe in a few years I'll write, this thesis needs no references. He grinned. Get lost. So you want to deepen your live stream influence and steer into the professional side? He asked. Yes, teacher. Abroad, competitive gaming professionalized earlier because of better network infrastructure. It's still nascent here, but with tech progress and wider internet access, the country will move into this field. As early as 2004, the National Sports General Administration organized the first National Electronic Sports Games, CEG, Yoon said. But low network penetration, poor commercial foundations, and immature management held things back. Recently, Tencent is preparing a professional league for League of Legends, so the timing might be right. So I want to use my strengths to be a pioneer, add professional to what I do as a content creator, Jiang Ming said. If I rely only on game-related content, I'm tied to that game's fate. If it thrives, I thrive. If it dies, so do I. That's good thinking, Yukin said. The attention economy rises fast and can fall fast. An e-commerce business without stable traffic can die overnight. Moving from dependence toward being a participant and creator is exactly applying what you've learned. Tell me, what help do you want from me? Jiang Ming, on Cloud 9, cried. Teacher, you'll support me. Support what? Money? Yukun replied. No money. Don't worry, I can handle the finances. Don't be ridiculous. If average gamers make only 1 or 2,000 yuan a month, and your net profit is at least 70 or 80,000, money isn't the bottleneck. For a venue, the school can't officially approve esports venues right now. Public opinion is still iffy, but the college can help you find connections to lease a cheaper place. You don't need to worry about business registration and qualification approvals. Prepare the documents. I'll have a senior who works at the bureau handle submissions. For legal and risk control, go to the law department building and get senior law students involved. Don't let outsiders do your contract drafting and legal advice on the cheap. When you hit problems you can't solve, make those corner-cutting firms have to explain themselves to their professors. Other talents for managing an esports club can be recruited from graduating students here. No need for me to spell that out. In short, it doesn't matter how weak you are, as long as you know how to call for backup. Chapter 12, Subsequent Developments. I'll do my best to secure the university's entrepreneurial resources for you, but you, kid, must follow what you've written, make it legitimate, make it presentable, and deliver results. Professor Yukun took off his gold-rimmed glasses and tapped the 47-page, 5-year development plan for the esports industry on the table like a lesson plan. Do you know why the School of Economics and Management made an exception and gave the Entrepreneurship Park top-tier resources? He pointed to the data charts in the appendix. A project incubated by Zhejiang University last year has already exceeded a valuation of 100 million. Your esports proposal is the only one in the past 3 years that can compete with it in terms of business model. So don't disgrace me. If you do well, the school will reserve a spot for you in an integrated bachelor's, master's, doctoral program. Understood, Jiang Ming answered loudly, gratitude shining in his eyes. He knew he was just an ordinary student. Even reborn with knowledge of future trends, without real experience, he could easily become a nouveau rich with a bit of money and simply be pushed out of the industry later. To truly get into a multi-billion-dollar industry chain, luck alone wasn't enough. Look at those who tried to form teams, Dongwanbai, PDD, they all tried. What happened? The Royal Club being forced to sell in 2014 because its capital chain broke had been a thorn in his mind. From freshman year, Jiang Ming had made a conscious effort to stand out, answering questions in class, consistently topping exams to build a reputation as a top student, and using his knowledge of the internet boom to attract the attention of the faculty in the School of Economics and Management, hoping to become one of their protégés. In society, when you have no family or connections, the one person truly willing to help you is a teacher. One more thing, Professor Yu added. Don't just take, give back. The school has helped you a lot. It's fine if you set up a research project for the school based on your esports proposal and regularly provide data, right? No problem. And don't take a leave of absence or drop out if you can avoid it. Work harder, read more from different teachers during weekdays, keep up with exams, and I'll see what I can do about your grades. Got it, teacher. Jiang Ming couldn't help but smile. The professor's concern was almost parental, a constant nag in the best possible way. When he came out of the professor's office and walked down the wisteria-covered corridor of the school, Jiang Ming's phone buzzed nonstop. After confirming that Lin Shuiji could handle things at the store, he didn't go back to the entrepreneurship park, but headed straight to the team's training base. On the way, he thought, the professor was right. Though the makeshift stage didn't cost much now, once they entered the LPL and things formalized, venue rentals, daily operations, hardware for the club, and player salaries would become huge monthly expenses. Getting kicked out after the cake gets big is a problem for later. It would be embarrassing if I couldn't keep it going halfway through. He checked the real-time data for his Taobao store in his head. Daily sales of pork floss buns had almost reached 2,000 orders, and ad space in the live stream room was getting pricier. The priority is to leverage first-mover advantage and dominate the market for high-quality League of Legends video content. One type of tutorial video won't be enough. If the online store's orders keep climbing, I can renegotiate supply prices with Yuchen. The contract with the streaming platform is also approaching renewal. LOL videos fell into two main categories: tutorial videos and entertainment. His new hero tutorial series covered the former. Parody skits like Teacher Shu's Patrol series would be entertainment. Both could be expanded. Some videos that needed only editing, like the style of the strongest king, didn't require his personal involvement. He could hire 2 capable media students from Jinling University to produce them without paying much. His store was the financial foundation, increase store visibility, and use video traffic to quickly bring in funds, essential in this barbaric, under-monetized era of esports. The store's main products were digital goods, seasonal clothing, snacks, and primarily esports peripherals. Peripherals weren't making much profit. Keyboards and apparel tend to last, and he refused to rip off customers by selling cheap shirts at inflated prices. The most profitable items were snacks, pork floss buns. For gamers, tasty and filling pork floss buns were a perfect choice. In 2013 and 2014, countless streamers had made a fortune selling them. Looks like to keep cash flowing, I'll have to keep selling pork floss buns, Jiang Ming said with a helpless grin. When he started the business, he'd boasted, "Watch me sell 100,000 pork floss buns." Now it seemed that not only would that target be reached soon, it would be far exceeded. Yesterday alone, thousands had been sold. He pulled out his phone, opened his banking app, and first transferred Lin Shuiji's salary. A notification popped up. Your ICBC has transferred 4,000 yuan to Lin Shuiji, last month's salary. Wow, my salary increased just like that, and it's paid on the 2nd? Thank you, boss. Boss is generous. I love you so much. Work instantly feels energized again, haha. Money smoothed everything. Feeling more confident, Jiang Ming typed, Lin Shuiji, work hard on recruiting people these few days. The store will probably be swamped with orders for a while. Hire more part-time packers if necessary. Also contact some media classmates. I have part-time video editing work. If it can be outsourced, I won't hire full-timers right now. On the other end, Lin replied, Okay. For interviews, do you want online interviews as usual, or should I bring them to campus? You handle it. I'll be very busy the next few days. And when the warehouse receives snacks from Yuchen, and when we pack and ship them, remember to check production dates. Don't let us sell expired products. In his memory, many streamers who sold pork floss buns had gotten into trouble for passing off inferior goods as premium, and some had even faced serious legal trouble. Jiang Ming certainly didn't want that. That's not a problem. I check incoming and outgoing stock every day. How many part-time media editors do you need? 2. Chapter 13, The Wild West Era of Esports. Half a month after Mr. Zhang Bapi had handed over the hush money, Lin Jingyi finally rolled off the bed and came back to life. Worker B on overtime duty. Nothing can stop me today, she declared, already moving toward her computer. As Jiang Ming had asked, she quickly edited the recruitment post. She finished at lightning speed, double-checked every line, and immediately dropped it into Jinling University's part-time QQ group. After all, Lin Jingyi, Ms. Lin Doraemon, was one of the group's administrators. Where Jiang Ming might have had to post the listing everywhere, For her, it was just a few keystrokes. Jinling University campus part-time job group, video editing intern recruitment. Seeking students majoring in media film-related fields. Urgent, 4 part-time parcel packers needed. Wage 15 to 20 R, plus same-day pay optional. The parcel packers could be described with a straight hourly wage, just strength, no portfolio required. The video editing role, though, needed people with experience. Lin Jingyi knew Jiang Ming's work model well enough to expect that. The moment she posted, the QQ notifications popped like popcorn. Senior, are there still openings for parcel packing? I can do 15 pull-ups in the fitness test, came one message, a classic flex from someone in the sports department. Lin Jie, does the video editing position require a portfolio? I've done comedy mashups for Bilibili Up Masters. Chen Yuting, a sophomore from the School of Communication, attached screenshots of her work. Lin Jingyi's fingers danced over the mechanical keyboard until she glanced at a sarcastic reply. Yo, Administrator Lin is recruiting maids for young Master Jiang again. How many bed warmers this time? She sneered and checked the sender. It was Wang Hao from accounting, the same guy Jiang Ming had rejected before. She right-clicked, reported, and blocked him in quick succession. Then at everyone in the admin thread, please weed out spam accounts. A pervert has been infiltrating the group. Screen people before inviting them in the future. While Lin Jingyi's keyboard practically smoked, the team's relaxed boss, Jiang Ming, had returned to the basement training room with the squad just before the LPL preseason qualifiers resumed. 6 teams stood at 2-0. Unlike the earlier round where first played second, the remaining opponents were basically the strongest teams from their respective servers' ranked ladders. One more win would almost guarantee a spot in the LPL preseason. The next draw would pit winners against the teams with 0-3 records. NXG's third opponent was the top team from Black Rose, CX. After 2 rounds, they were one of the 3 strongest teams left besides NXG. In the third match, despite CX's flashy mechanics, they still couldn't keep up with NXG. Look at Vayne, someone shouted from the caster's desk. I ulted, burst the AD. Backline, watch the backline, I have Zhonya's, there's no way they can kill me. Jiang Ming had deliberately picked a less proactive champion comp for his team, partly to build their resilience. Before 15 minutes, you're Ninja Turtles, he told them. After 20 minutes, you're Super Saiyans. NXG's lineup was Stoneman top, Jarvan 4 jungle, Orianna mid, Ezreal AD, and Zera support. CX on blue side responded with Renekton top, Lee Sin jungle, LeBlanc mid, Vayne AD, and Blitzcrank support. An all-out offensive composition. Seeing Stoneman on purple, CX had chosen Vayne specifically to chew through tanks in the current patch. On paper, CX looked aggressive and skilled. In practice, NXG's team comp relied more on coordinated ultimates than individual outplays. The 2 sides simply read the map differently. Early laning showed small individual advantages for CX, but their minion wave control was poor. Renekton, with Ignite, misplayed an all-in at level 3 and fell into Stoneman's rhythm. Waves stacked and melted under a Sunfire cape. When blue-side Renekton tried to force a push, Orianna and Jarvan were already there to collapse on him. CX did know how to force fights during their champions' power spikes, and they pressured objectives well. But in the Season 3 era game they were playing, Dragon carried less strategic weight. The slight gold from Dragon was easily offset by differences in basic C-Sing between the squads. Jiang Ming's 5 kept his instructions clear in their heads. Unless it's our power spike, avoid unnecessary fights. At 7 minutes, NXG even pulled a lane swap, sending the durable Stoneman down to bottom while Ezreal and Zyra went top. For a lot of national server players at that time, lane swaps were advanced. Both Renekton and Vayne fell uncharacteristically silent as the lanes shifted. Across the 22-minute game, NXG hardly engaged in standard teamfights. They rotated, pried, and stalled until the moment their opponents finally thought NXG would crumble. Then NXG called Baron. The fight was messy and decisive. NXG traded 2 for 5 and wiped CX clean. The 5 Black Rose players were left dumbfounded. Never won, huh? Never won, huh? Someone taunted in all chat as their nexus fell. The support even spammed question marks before the screen went black. They had never seen a team play like that. Jiang Ming cleared his throat. Ahem, don't mind them. Let's take a break and go over the replay. If we win the fourth, we're officially pro. His cough drew the players' attention and kept tempers from boiling over. They were young and hot-blooded. Public flame wars would have been messy. Shizhenyu, Pangran, and the others exchanged looks and shrugged. Those who needed water got water. Those who needed a quick break left their desks. Flaming in chat? Impossible. For them, the greatest satisfaction was breaking an opponent's morale inside the game. Just thinking about that enemy Zed getting locked up right after he ulted makes me laugh, one of them said. Not everyone can play a newly released champion as smoothly as Mingi right out of the gate. Some people just imitate badly. Old Shu, from your perspective as a veteran AD, how good was that enemy mid laner? Chunin, no more, someone answered dryly. Their jungler couldn't even clear F4 properly. NXG's AD player, jabbed at the replay where Lee Sin kept spinning in place. How did a team like this even get into the qualifiers? Because this is the Wild West era of esports. Jiang Ming tore open a bag of pork floss buns and grinned. An era where all you need is a shovel and the willingness to swing it to dig for gold. Chapter 14, The Battle for Challenger. Half an hour later, the fourth match started on schedule. Still no familiar faces. This one was easier than the previous three. My opponent had already gone 0-3, and their morale was shot. A few high-ranked players who'd come in full of confidence, planning to chase pro ties and use the qualifier as a stepping stone to the LPL, had been beaten to a pulp before they even got a feel for the league. Their professional dreams had been smashed long ago. Now the only thing driving them was not ending their run with a clean sweep. After all, they were top players on their own servers and had to save face. In the fourth round, they ran into Jiang Ming's NXG. At 17 minutes, NXG closed the game decisively, claiming their fourth straight win and guaranteeing their spot in the LPL preseason in January. At that moment, Jiang Ming glanced at a private message from the head of his streaming platform. Riot will be updating the ladder point system tonight. They're introducing a brand new ranked system for the next season. Ranked system. Jiang Ming's eyes lit up. The fight for challenger across the platforms and the chance to negotiate a partnership with YY had finally begun. In the S3 season, Riot was replacing the old ladder point ELO system with a tier system, the same bronze to challenger divisions later generations would know well. The visible rank points would become a hidden MMR. There were 6 tiers: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and challenger. Except for challenger, each tier had 5 divisions, and hitting 100 LP in a division would trigger a promotion series. Promotion series came in 2 flavors: best of 3 for intra-tier division promotions and best of 5 for promotions between major tiers. Challenger was reserved for the top 50 players by LP on each server above Diamond 1. Jiang Ming thought Riot's change was smart. The old ELO swings frustrated a lot of players and discouraged lower tiers from staying active. With tiers, high-level players had the goal of challenger, and low-level players could grind toward the gold season skin. Everyone had something to chase. When the tier system first launched in his previous life, it sparked a frenzy, players pulling all-nighters to push ranks, and even girls getting carried straight to diamond. The system wasn't perfect. Promotion series added randomness and created tier stagnation, and boosting and scripting complaints followed. Some content creators were already openly advertising boosting services. But boosting was a trap Jiang Ming refused to touch. Being associated with it could explode into scandal the moment you reached prominence in esports. If Riot was overhauling ranked, Jiang Ming wondered if YY was planning to move. In the original timeline, YY wouldn't reorganize into Huya until 2014, lagging a year behind Doju. Doju had aggressively signed League streamers in 2013, riding the game's popularity and even offering big prizes for the server's first challenger, capturing lots of market share. Huya missed that wave and stayed second for a long time. Maybe the ripples Jiang Ming had made were changing that. His phone buzzed. The caller ID read YY Platform, Person in Charge. Jiang Ming picked up. "Hi, JM, am I disturbing you?" A middle-aged man's warm laugh came through the line. Jiang Ming walked back to his computer and sat down. "Not at all. Xu Tao, is something urgent?" "Urgent? Of course." Xu Tao's voice had a hint of urgency. If I don't call tonight, I'm afraid your JM ID will have someone else's platform prefix after Riot's update at midnight. Most players might only be hearing about the rank changes now, but Shu Tao knew top-tier players like Jiang Ming had found out long before. That Jiang Ming hadn't reacted yet meant he was waiting to see if YY would make a play. High-level streamers are hard to pin down, Shu Tao complained, then explained YY's plan. So let me get this straight, Jiang Ming said. YY wants to push league streaming, use the ranked reform to create a Challenger Summit event, and rope in streamers by making them add the platform prefix to their in-game IDs. Anyone with a YY prefix can apply? Yes. Shu Tao was concise. We want to capture the traffic from this reform. We hope you'll add the platform prefix and go for the title of the national server's first challenger. And what does YY offer in return? The platform will pay 30,000 yuan for the server's first challenger and an extra 50,000 if you reach the top of server 1 alone. After the summit task is completed, we'll change your gift revenue split to 40-60 in your favor and guarantee at least 4 homepage recommendation slots during your climb. Jiang Ming didn't interrupt. Shu Tao continued. Also, the platform is reorganizing and optimizing later this year. Top streamers like you will get heavy resource support after that. But before reorganization, we need to grab the attention this rank change will bring. Jiang Ming let the offer sit for a moment. The money was decent, and the promotion guarantees were tempting. If YY was serious about investing in League and giving him the visibility, it could be worth it. Not only the reward for being first challenger, but the platform support that might follow. He pictured the ladder reform, the rush of players grinding toward new ranks, the media attention on who would be first to claim challenger. The title carried more than money. It carried influence. Jiang Ming's mind was already calculating how best to use the coming storm. Chapter 15. Soft rice tastes best when eaten hard. Jiang Ming fell into a brief silence. Honestly, even if YY hadn't dangled such an offer, he would have taken on the task of reaching the top of the national server for the sake of his team and his online shop. The only real difference was whether a streaming platform's prefix would be part of the promotion. The reason YY was so eager was because a competing platform had been preparing a similar bid. An ordinary player would have taken the deal immediately, but Jiang Ming, who had the information advantage and knew about the rival platform's interest, wasn't going to be satisfied with just that. Brother Shu, please let me think it over, he said. Think. Think about what? It's just changing an ID. Do you think the offer isn't enough? Shu Tao snapped. It's different now. I used to be a lone wolf, but I have a team now, another identity to consider. Jiang Ming wasn't arguing the fairness of the terms. He was pointing out that the value had changed. Shu paused. The platform knew the professional team was established. He recalled that in the LPL preseason qualification list, JM's NXG team had already locked a professional spot with 4 straight wins. That complicated things. The offer he might give a big-name streamer would be one thing, but if that streamer also led a professional team, the package had to be considered differently, especially since the WE team was streaming on channel 9001 and platform positioning mattered. Want to hear my idea? Shu asked after a moment. Go on. There was another reason Jiang Ming felt confident enough to negotiate. Over the past year, he'd accumulated hundreds of thousands of genuine League of Legends fans through his streams and tutorial videos, a qualitative difference between him and a normal Diamond player. If an ordinary player reached the top of the national server, YY would have to invest heavily in promotion. Jiang Ming, however, wouldn't require much extra promotional spend. He could stream while climbing, then cut a couple of post-game videos with ready-made titles for YY. JM Live, reaching the top of the national server, and the like. Which of those would attract new players more effectively? Shu was quiet for a moment, seeing the logic. Give me a few hours. We'll come back with an acceptable offer. You know NXG already has a pro spot, right? You probably haven't arranged a platform sponsorship or naming rights for the team yet. YY would be interested in that, Jiang Ming added. It was refreshing to deal with someone who understood the leverage. Sponsorships and naming rights can seem petty when you ask for them up front, and they can also complicate team matters. Show your value first, and the resources come to you without threats or empty ultimatums. As the philosopher Cao Dahua once said, soft rice tastes delicious when eaten hard. After hanging up, knowing Shu would be heading into a meeting, Jiang Ming opened his laptop and logged into the League client and YY Live. While the platforms debated, he intended to press his own advantage. It was past midnight. The ranked update had just gone live. Perfect time to play ranked on stream. While the client updated, he rushed to his fan group and Weibo to post a broadcast notice. JM, Ming at all members. Cough, cough. Small accident today. I'm back from the dead to make up my streaming hours. The missing person has returned. Who is it? Playing a Smurf, right? Isn't today Dog Ming's class time? No way, I just left an internet cafe. Stop trolling me. Don't be afraid, push me to death. Haha, I told you LOL patched rank placement today and he'd go live. You didn't believe me. Losers, pay my all-nighter internet fees tonight. Ming, charge it. That first diamond rank better be taken down. What first diamond? It's gotta be national server number 1. Lao Ming, you're cursed. Ever since you uploaded that Shadow Stream Lord video, ranked is full of ninja dogs and kid Zeds, ruining everything. Reading the replies while fiddling with his streaming setup, Jiang Ming felt a little awkward. It wasn't his fault. Heroes that make flashy plays easily attract imitators. Once his Lightspeed QA tutorial went up, the Zed mains would flood in. Fishtail Wen and Nursery School were already talking about becoming kid Zeds. By the time the clunky stream prep finished, live streaming in 2013 was a lot more hassle than the one-click streaming he'd grown used to in his previous life. He was ready. Stream title, rank update. Will the national server's diamond give me a chance? He adjusted the camera so his upper body was visible, with clear focus on his right hand moving the mouse. He didn't have the energy to argue with trolls about boosters. Play with your head and climbing's easy, he wrote as a short opening line. Hello everyone, this is New Hero, New Understanding. JM Ming's stream, he announced. He'd chosen his stream persona deliberately, a high-ranked player who taught and explained, mixing in a few witty lines to keep things fun. The approach drew a wide audience. As soon as the stream started, viewers poured in, some from the fan group, some from Weibo, others from internet cafes gearing up for an all-night grind. With the national server's top-ranked expert on, everyone wanted to see where he'd be placed. Thanks to his tutorial videos and an honest online store, Jiang Ming enjoyed a good reputation. The bullet chat had few haters. Minge, show us your rank. Yeah, you had 2,400 points before. This has to be diamond right away. He didn't stall. He snapped to his profile page. The old ladder points dissolved into a burst of brilliant blue and white energy centered on the screen as the system updated. A text bar flashed. League of Legends ranked system has been updated. Based on your previous ladder points, your new season placement is Diamond 2, 0 LP. Chapter 16, Ming Kai's Blind Monk. Damn it, he's already Diamond 2 just like that? As expected of a top 3 ladder player, after placements, he'll probably hit Challenger. No surprise, Challenger is only for the top 50 on each server. Jiang Ming was ranked 2nd before, so it's reasonable he'd jump straight up. Minge, go. Take down Clearlove. The first Challenger on the national server has to be from our Ming family army. The idea of a streamer taking down a professional player was intoxicating. As soon as Jiang Ming started streaming, the YY platform staff noticed. They saw his tier after the reset and understood immediately what this could mean. Old Sue, give him the conditions straight away. Push his traffic. Put his stream on the homepage. I want front page announcements tomorrow. First Challenger on YY platform across all our channels. Don't hesitate. Even if he keeps his ID, just getting him to the top of the platform will generate massive attention. No need to bicker over small details. With the platform's backing, more and more viewers flooded Jiang Ming's stream. Thanks to City Championships, Tencent's QQ social network, and the popularity of League of Legends itself, the game was everywhere now. Internet cafes glowed late into the night. Even if only a tenth of those players clicked the YY pop-up, the numbers were staggering. All right, let me explain the new tier calculation, Jiang Ming said as he queued. In the new season, all players' ELOs are compressed and mapped to the new tiers. Roughly, New hidden score, old ladder score plus 1200's worth 2. So there's still a hidden score that affects match quality. Above 2200, you get opponents roughly in Diamond 2 to Challenger. 2000 to 2200 will be Diamond V to Diamond 2. 1800 to 2000 lands you in Platinum V to Platinum 1. Chat reacted fast. That's right, my old score was 2120 and I placed Diamond 4. After placements, I should be able to push for Challenger. Envy the pro upstairs. 50 challengers per server is too few. That's why it's valuable. I heard the company sends exclusive gifts to Challenger players at season's end. If you don't think you're strong enough, go queue on the later servers. Server 1 is a war zone. Come on, Mingi, what about gold and silver tiers? Are we not worthy? A viewer protested. A player in the stream joked, sorry, below 1800 you're not qualified to speak loudly. Oh, not qualified to speak loudly? What tier are you? Screenshot, brother from Kinku Order, Diamond I. Diamond in a suburban server? If you're so good, come to server 1 and get to gold first. Please, big brothers, carry me. I'm pretty and sweet. I don't expect Challenger, just Diamond is fine. The chat was about to derail, so Jiang Ming steered it. Ahem, everyone, no arguing. Climbing is what matters. Today's stream, I'll list the best champions for climbing. That settled them. Placements were starting and a lot of players were ambitious. With the match beginning, emotes and gifts poured in. Responding to me gifted the streamer an excavator. Jehu Baoyu gifted 2 excavators. Fat Otaku Happy Water gifted 100 blood potions. Thanks responding to me for the excavator. Thanks Jiang Jehu Baoyu. Thanks everyone for the gifts. The earthy yellow tractor animation rolled across the screen with a loud chug-chug diesel sound that filled the room. Jiang Ming was surprised. This was before the era of extravagant virtual gifts. The excavator cost 100 yuan and was rare. More commonly, streamers got scattered flowers, applause, and 1 yuan blood potions, just like now. Wait, I'm matched with that Jiang Ming, someone inside the Wii base said when they saw the match queue. Wan Mao, mid-game in a ranked match, scanned the lobby and recognized a familiar ID. Wei Xiao, duo queued with him, frowned. Our MMR is similar. How did we get matched with this freak? Matchmaking usually kept both sides at comparable skill. Today's game had clustered several top players together. Because I'm on the other side. Ming Kai, sitting across from them, said quietly. He'd finished the season as number 1 on the national ladder. That figures. With the top player on the enemy team and a few other high-tier opponents, it made sense their side had a high-caliber mid-laner. We can use this to test how Jiang Ming adapts to the new season. Ming Kai, focus on ganking mid, don't come bot. I will, Ming Kai answered, glancing at their team comps. The enemy mid was cool from OMG, so the lane matchup would be high-level play and offered lots of room for Ming Kai to show his skill. Blue didn't ban Zed? Someone on the purple side asked incredulously. If the blue side didn't realize Jiang Ming was on the enemy team, that explained why they left Shadow Streamlord, Jiang Ming's known Zed ID, open. Shadow Streamlord had been active for almost a week, and among high-tier players the consensus ran, Zed is an extreme assassin. If he doesn't snowball early, he gets turned around easily, and exhaust is a huge counter in teamfights. That might be true for players with low mastery. For someone like Jiang Ming, who could master a champion on its second day and carry at around 2,300 points, leaving an unnerfed new champion open was risky. Hey Ming Kai, you guys aren't banning Zed? Wan Mao stuck his head out to check. Influenced by tutorials and the growing legend of Jiang Ming, many players had implicitly crowned him the national server's foremost Zed. Champion bans flew fast in ranked. Blue team banned Caedrel, Shen, and Jace. Purple team banned Evelynn, Thresh, and Orianna. Picks began, and the blue team's first rotation grabbed the jungler Blind Monk for Ming Kai. Ming Kai picked Blind Monk. Chapter 17. Oh, the founder of the famous shockwave theory. Jiang Ming's lips curved into a smile as a string of numbers flickered through his mind. It wasn't mockery. Clearlove's Lee Sin in S3 still had a lot to teach. The era's pig farming tactics hadn't yet faded, and combined with Jiang Ming's personal mastery of the standard consciousness flow playstyle, Lee Sin, a champion with powerful early-game jungle counterplay, was razor-sharp in capable hands. The problem was that many of the players of that time were still exploring Lee Sin's mechanics and didn't understand techniques like R-Flash, Insec, and W-Flash. "JM, do you want me to take Zed for you?" came a message in the purple team's chat. The team's first pick player, perceptive and quick, immediately offered when he spotted the carry. Although pick order in League is usually decided by hidden MMR, sometimes the assignments look odd. In this match, Jiang Ming, despite having the highest hidden MMR of the 5, had been placed as second pick. Jiang Ming typed back, "No need, brother. You and the support just pick your mains." The first pick jungler didn't hesitate and locked in Jarvan 4, a champion he favored. Wan Mao thought for a moment and chose Sona. He'd wanted to try the new Thresh, similar to Blitzcrank in positioning but more versatile, but the blue team banned him out, so he settled for what was left. The blue side then used their second and third picks to lock in the double carry Gragas and Caitlyn. Picking Gragas first, confident, Jiang Ming muttered, and then he locked in his champion in turn. The Formless Blade is the deadliest. With Jiang Ming's choice sealed, both team compositions soon took shape. Blue team, top Shyvana, jungle Lee Sin, mid Gragas, bot Caitlyn plus Janna. Purple team, top Zac, jungle Jarvan 4, mid Zed, bot Ezreal plus Sona. Even as a player, Jiang Ming still streamed to an audience and kept giving them a running commentary. For Zed, use the rune and mastery setup from the tutorial I uploaded, very versatile. 21.9 masteries. For runes, flat AD and flat armor penetration are fine. Don't bother taking scaling CDR in your greater quintessences. The payoff is minimal. Composition-wise, neither side is clearly superior. Their mid-jungle is stronger early, while we have more overall crowd control. But Caitlyn and Janna have crazy range, which makes it hard to close in for fights. That pair is a solid counter to Zed. Jiang Ming didn't look down on the so-called king emperors of the era just because he had deeper game knowledge. As a bot lane specialist himself, he appreciated when someone could counter an assassin meta with a long-range duo like Caitlyn and Janna, an insightful read on the matchup. Feels like a rough game. Mid Gragas is annoying and has sustain. Zed won't get much. Mingay shouldn't force Zed, better to play for climbing and challenger. Their mid and jungle are both pros. Mid is cool from OMG, and the jungler is Clear Love from WE. Also, their bot lane is Wei Xiao and Duan Mao. Streamer, if mid plays safe and it drags to teamfights, with the King Wei Xiao present, it's a guaranteed win. Wei Xiao, Jiang Ming called, noting his bottom lane duo's picks as the loading screen finished. Ezreal and Sona, indeed the signature champions of the two old WE veterans. After the Korean Dragon Tiger Cup and IPL 5, Wei Xiao had earned names like World's #1 AD, Farming Machine, and the man who puts carry in AD. The chat was right. With Wei Xiao's competitive level at that time, once Ezreal finished core items in the mid-game, the enemy Caitlyn would struggle to match his output. But Jiang Ming had no intention of being carried. If Faker were on the other team, he might feel nervous about his teammates, but facing Cool, the self-styled founder of Shockwave Theory, didn't faze him. In Jiang Ming's view, the current hyped-up king of AD might someday be celebrated by capital and media, but the true founder of that flashy theorizing was Cool himself. In the original timeline, Cool had been catapulted into fame at the S3 World Championship after a network hiccup let him solo kill Faker and earn a lofty reputation. He believed he was world-class, then got wrecked by Xerath on Yasuo, spiraled into team infighting at OMG, had relationship drama tied to a jungler girlfriend, and eventually cautioned his own career, ending up in chaotic transfers and declining performances. He'd always been great at attracting attention for the wrong reasons. All 5 players moved into the game with practiced speed. After buying starting items, they took positions. Jiang Ming, starting with a long sword and 3 potions, pinged the map, asking Jarvan 4 to place a defensive ward. In an era where 2 buffs could push you to level 3 quickly, Lee Sin's early invasion threat was enormous. At the same time, before hitting level 3, Zed would find it hard to assert lane priority against Gragas in mid. Unlike later Gragas builds, the S3 Gragas's Q didn't need delayed casts for max damage. His W gave damage reduction and bonus attack, making his early trades and last hitting comfortable. His E didn't stun, but its dash distance, slow, and damage were formidable for the time. Huan Mao and Wei Xiao saw the pings and couldn't help exchanging a look. They had the same thought. This guy's style feels even more professional than ours. Blue team chat. Ban Zed? Why would I ban Zed? He's just some solo queue player. Cool scoffed as he took control of Gragas. To him, ladder top players were just that. If the pros actually committed to rank climbing, the top 10 would be their backyard. Minutes ticked by, with neither side willing to force a level 1 fight. Cool reached mid with the minion wave and saw Zed standing opposite him. He fired barrel roll, aiming to clip both champion and minions. The barrel flew, but the Shadow Stream Lord, Jiangming's Zed, moved with the speed of a practiced assassin and narrowly dodged it. Face the shadows, find the truth, he whispered. Whoosh, Zed slipped past the incoming barrel and spun his shurikens, Razor Shuriken. The sharp blade sliced through air and flesh. A sizable chunk of Gragas's health evaporated. Chapter 18. Your jungler is still farming F4. Jiang Ming's eyes brightened as he opened the enemy hero panel. The opponent hadn't bought flat armor, good for Zed's damage. If Gragas had stacked armor, his sustain and the damage reduction from W would have made a solo kill much harder. But whether the enemy had exchanged armor for cooldown reduction or magic penetration, at level 3, Zed only needed one all-in window. As a streamer, climbing rank mattered, but so did entertainment. For a mechanically skilled streamer, what beat pulling off a flashy solo kill in lane? Play it safe early, wait for me to gank. The new hero's stats are a bit busted, Ming Kai typed from the jungle while clearing camps. No need, came the curt reply from Cool. At the computer, the young man behind the Gragas account ignored the jungler's advice. He just traded abilities with Zed and knew Gragas's passive would heal most of the damage back. No need to call for help. He kept pushing the lane, confident. Play it safe? Nah, Gragas muttered to himself and pressed forward. Under the stream camera, Zed baited a last hit, coaxing Gragas into throwing barrel roll. The moment Gragas committed, Zed dropped a shadow clone with W, swapped positions, and flowed into his combo. Basic attack, double razor shuriken, then shadow slash. The barrage of shurikens and slashing blades hit in quick succession. Red flames erupted over Gragas's head. He went from 3/4 health down to 1/3 in an instant. Another basic attack procced Zed's passive for extra damage and finished the job. Come learn solo kill techniques from your streamer. First, auto once, then auto again, then auto a billion times. Jiang Ming crowed into the mic, half showing and half teaching. Yo, you even used the quickness. Your jungler's still farming F4. He can't save you, a viewer joked in chat. Solo kill, secured, flashed across the stream. First blood. JM killed Cool. The chat exploded. Holy crap, ninja hand seals. That flex caught me off guard. How did he even get level 3 that fast? Fans alternated between praise and stunned laughter at the one-handed seal Jiangming had used for show while executing the combo. He smiled for the viewers, but kept his tone playful and instructive. Thanks to opposing Gragas for the solo kill tutorial, he said modestly. Did you all learn that? If not, today's tuition is waived. On the other team, Ming Kai, still farming nearby, and the mid laner were not as amused. No. How did mid get solo killed? Ming Kai typed 2 question marks into team chat. Wu Zhuangtai, the Gragas player, returned to base with a pale face. He'd told the jungler not to bother. He thought the trade was harmless, and then miscalculated. I messed up. He hit level 3 before me, he admitted. What had happened? Gragas planned to use Body Slam to dash onto the low-health cannon minion to secure the last hit and reach level 3. Zed, however, timed his Shadow Q to hit the cannon minion as well. The overlap made the cannon die immediately, giving Zed the level advantage. With level 3 to level 2, Zed's second W closed the gap, then Ignite, and the passive auto finished the combo. What had been a brief, the quickness exchange turned into a kill inside turret range. Back at the fountain, Wu Zhuangtai hovered over items and, worried about Zed's burst, dragged the amplifying tome aside and bought cloth armor instead. A mage against an assassin, he mumbled to his team. Building Zhonya's later is fine. Jiang Ming, having picked up first blood, cleared the next wave and returned to the lane, narrating every decision for the stream. With first blood, our health and resources are good. If Lee Sin comes mid, it's not a big problem. Push the minion wave under their tower before you recall. Don't leave the lane frozen against you. He explained the wave math for viewers. Gragas dying, respawning, and walking back won't be enough to catch up. He'll miss several minions, and by the time the turret finishes, the next wave arrives and we lose nothing. Minion gold can be the real gap maker. Also, don't neglect boots this time. No need to rush a brutalizer. We don't have the quickness now, so the next Lee Sin gank could be dangerous. The match rolled on exactly as he predicted. Ming-Kai Lee Sin visited mid repeatedly over the next few minutes, not helping bottom as some expected. Facing pressure from the enemy jungler, Jiang Ming refused to play overcautious. "Brother, go gank bottom. Don't let Caitlyn poke Ezreal's tower," he told his teammate. Into the stream, Jiang Ming kept teaching. Buy wards, people. Buy wards. It's not only the support's job. How much is a ward? Compared to giving 300 gold to the enemy with a death, it's a bargain. And once you buy wards, don't just drop them in the river. There's a lot of technique. We have lane priority now. The Sonic Wave exposed Lee Sin's position earlier, which means the bottom half of his jungle is probably cleared. Put vision on the top half. Don't just throw it in the river bush, go deeper. Put a ward in the bush near the blue buff wall. If you ward a little further forward, you can cut off the enemy's gank path. Blue buff entrance? That's Top's job. If he loses vision there, remember to roast him in chat. One flame and they'll stop whining. Most of the time, if Top still needs mid-jungle help, they'll listen to you. Jiang Ming talked and played, both streaming and coaching, using the game itself as a classroom for the server. He was ready to keep teaching and stomping, one flashy outplay at a time. Chapter 19, Crescent Moon Instant Kill Technique. With Jiang Ming's explanation and the Blind Monk's failed attempts to ward the area for several minutes, the number of viewers in JM's livestream kept climbing, even though it was late at night. Whether they were in internet cafes or pulling an all-nighter at home, every player hungry to climb the ranks listened closely. Unlike other streamers who would just say, "That wave is killable," "That was a great play," or "Watch how I do it," Jiang Ming didn't tailor his commentary to a single champion. He broke down the game, how to play, how to handle situations. None of it was some inscrutable mystical theory. Most ordinary players would learn these tips after enough games. But in the barbaric early days of esports, anything Jiang Ming said sounded like scripture. With vision on their side, while the Blind Monk focused on mid, Prince managed to catch and kill Caitlyn in bottom. That stalled the purple team's mid and jungler rhythm and put their bottom lane at a disadvantage. It didn't end there. While continuously dodging Ming-Kai's attempts to target him, Jiang Ming also kept his eyes on the enemy. "Let's take a wave," he said. At 7 minutes, during a clear jungle ambush, Jiang Ming reached level 6 and waited for Zed's ultimate. The Blind Monk had moved in by ward hopping over a monster. Zed timed his play with the opponent's cooldowns, melted into shadows, and lunged. The ignorant are doomed. 3 shurikens, fanning out in a 120-degree angle, cut off any escape. As his partner, the Prince used the quickness and EQ to knock up the Blind Monk, and Jiang Ming turned cast E, then followed with auto attacks to finish him off. JM killed Clear Love. "I'm shocked. Is Mingy really playing in high-tier games? He's getting kills like it's nothing." Confirmed. Absolutely. It's Wei Xiao and Wan Mao duo in bot, and the opponent is Factory Director's Blind Monk. Laughing to death. Their mid confidently first-picked Gragas got solo-killed in lane. His jungler tried multiple times to help without success, and the jungler even got caught and killed. The mid laner is just sitting there with no reaction. In Season 3, when some abilities hadn't yet been nerfed into uselessness, plays like this from the Shadow Stream Lord weren't unheard of. Jiang Ming ignored the taunting comments about Gragas. This was a guy who could even get a hot-headed Poppy who had a grudge against him to give him an opening, send gifts to his stream, and come over to shake hands and make peace, only to turn around and mock people with rock sugar pear. He was impossible to figure out and even harder to evaluate. The verdict: incomprehensible. Best to keep your distance. With 2 kills, Jiang Ming went back to base and picked up Umbra Blades, then declared himself invincible. For Season 3 there was a reason. That item was overpowered. At 1337 gold, it gave 25 AD, 15 flat armor penetration, and 10% cooldown reduction, an excellent transitional item for assassins. Whether it built into Yumu's Ghostblade or the Black Cleaver, both suited Zed perfectly. Back on the map at 722, Jiang Ming placed a ward at F4. Don't ask why he placed it there, just know the opposing jungler was 7 sauce. After the ward went down, Ming Kai realized Zed was slippery and stopped wasting time in mid, shifting his focus to top. A close-range kick with a ward hop combined with the Dragon Girl's ultimate forced out Zack's passive and the quickness. No ganks, no problems, someone jeered. This little bit of armor won't save Gragas, Jiang Ming said to the camera with a roguish smile. Watch closely, learn well. Your brother here is going to show you what a full health instant kill looks like. As he spoke, his fingers tapped the keys in a crisp rhythm that sounded like a drumbeat. On screen, the armor-piercing spikes on the ninja's robe fluttered in the wind. While the blue team's Gragas farmed with a bulging belly, 3 afterimages charged across Summoner's Rift in a triangular formation. W, Shadow Clone, had been placed diagonally by the river beforehand. R, Deathmark, made the main body and a Shadow Dash simultaneously, and the third shadow oddly appeared where Gragas had just used the quickness. Shadow Stream Secret, Crescent Moon Instant Kill Technique. The slightly Chunibyo narration, overblown and dramatic, hit the viewer's ears just right. What would sound cringe to later generations of League players fit perfectly for this crowd. It made their blood boil. In 0.3 seconds, 3 ghostly slashes formed a crescent blossom of blades. The whoosh of shurikens and the dull thud of Umbra blades cutting through flesh exploded at once. Gragas's bloated body was pierced by 3 spectral blue shurikens. His explosive cask had barely left his hand when Zed's ghostly phase shift shattered it into a shower of wine midair. Thud! 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 The crimson deathmark pulsed like a countdown. After a brief delay, it detonated above Gragas's head. When it was over, Jiang Ming sheathed his blade and stepped over Gragas's still warm corpse as the 3 afterimages dissolved into black smoke on the sweet, bloody wind. JM killed! Cool. Solo kill. Full health solo kill. On the other end of the network, Wu Zhuangtai stared at his black and white screen in disbelief, jaw opening and closing like he couldn't accept what he'd just seen. His full health Gragas was gone, just like that. Cool. 666. Coach, I want to learn this. This is what you call a Hokage, unpredictable shadow stream lord. Damn, what kind of ghosts do I run into in ranked? Where are the people who praise pro players as invincible now? The opposing pro mid's been solo killed twice. Gragas is such a noob, daring to lane at full health. Do you even hear yourselves? Full health execute, full health execute. Aren't those numbers insane? Am I seeing things? JMZ seems to have extra skills compared to when I play him. Crescent Moon instant kill technique. Does the streamer mean 3 shadows? Jiang Ming didn't dodge the questions. About the play, he said, "All right, class reps in the chat, take a seat. The Crescent Moon instant kill technique is an exclusive secret technique of your streamer. Want to learn it? If you do, it's not like I can't teach you." When someone comes to define an era, they grow into the language of that era. Jiang Ming, who used to cringe at streaming rhetoric, now wielded it effortlessly after half a year. Not like I can't teach. The message was clear. Start sending gifts. An excavator appeared in the stream's donated items. "Here's your gift," someone wrote. "Hurry up. Such a cool Shadow Stream Lord play, and you didn't put it in a tutorial video, JM. You changed." Little Vi sent 200 health potions. I don't like the sound of the excavator, but 200 potions should be enough. Begging for monthly votes, kneeling and begging. Before Jiang Ming had even finished speaking, the stream was flooded with gift effects. Excavators and health potions from wealthy viewers blanketed the screen, while regular players peppered the chat with flowers and applause. "The so-called 3-moon instant kill technique," Jiang Ming said as the gifts slowed, tapping his keyboard. On screen, Zed tossed a shuriken, and he cleared his throat. "It's actually an exploitation of Zed's skill mechanics, his ultimate." He paused for half a second, and the stream cut to Zed's skill description. Friends in chat, if you have the conditions, take a look at Zed's skill text. Zed's shadows copy his abilities. People usually use W with the main body to double Q or double E for damage, but did you notice this detail? Zed's ultimate also creates a shadow? Oh wow, it says so here. Holy crap, 3 shadows casting at once? Case closed. In that last wave, he placed W to the side in advance. When the ultimate's shadow landed, 3 Es and 3 Qs hit at once. So Gragas took 3 sets of Zed's abilities in an instant. Getting killed at full health doesn't look so ridiculous now. Dev team, look at this. How are we supposed to play if Zed can one-shot full health champs and he doesn't get nerfed? ZOP, nerf Irelia instead. Jiang Ming watched the chat scroll with a smile. Players in Season 3 might have been sloppy at exact math, but their enthusiasm for breaking down guides was heartening compared to the later-era keyboard warriors who only blamed teammates. This was a golden age where streamers became famous teaching single-champion tricks, Fiora's 1-second 5 autos, Riven's fast QA, and Jiang Ming knew these styles inside out. Enjoyed feeding mid-lane, huh? If you can't win, why not buy Zhonya's? Caitlyn in the bottom lane suddenly started flaming in team chat. The clack-clack of her keyboard was almost audible through voice. Their jungler, the blind monk, hadn't managed to pressure Gragas early. Caitlyn and Janna were already annoyed after several targeted ganks from Jarvan 4, and now Gragas, a champion who had eaten team resources, was handing kills to Zed. Caitlyn lost it. Typing and flaming in that era was an art form. Zon players were terrifyingly proficient. On the other side, Wu Wangtai stared at the gray death screen, his finger hovering over enter and trembling. What could he say? Admit he'd been deleted by someone abusing super meta knowledge? Finally, he slammed his mouse. Garbage champion. Did the devs' brains leak? A champion that can kill full health people and doesn't get nerfed. Are they saving it for New Year? He hurled his frustration at the champion itself. Jiang Ming didn't know what the opposing Gragas felt. He was focused on winning and on making the stream entertaining. At 9:15, Zed's ultimate icon lit up again. The recipe was familiar. After winning mid-priority and pushing Vision into the jungle, Jiang Ming saw Ming Kai's blind monk head top again. He seized the moment, and with Jarvan 4 as muscle, they rotated down to bot. The Jarvan player was smart. Once he realized mid was the carry, he bought wards and even a sightstone. 4-man dive on 2. Their jungler was top. Gragas in mid was useless on the map, and Caitlyn in bot felt hopeless. Caitlyn was ready to surrender, but Janna refused to give up. Her Q was precast. If she could interrupt Jarvan's EQ engage, then with her ultimate, a well-timed exhaust and some heals, she could possibly save her AD. She creamed her focus into that chance. Damn AD, he already gave up on healing, she muttered, hunched over her keys. When her Q knocked up Jarvan as planned, she let out a small cheer, but the Shadow Stream Lord reacted instantly, timing Deathmark to dodge the worst of it. Don't underestimate me, Zed seemed to say. Exhaust went on to Zed to keep their AD alive. No one wanted another tragedy like mid lane. Janna followed up with her ultimate to push them back, and for a beat, Jarvan 4 was the one who looked like the setup man in a comedy routine, knocked up, then knocked back by Janna's R. He had taken both of Janna's major crowd controls and was reeling. But Zed's play was surgical. He canceled the worst of the CC with Deathmark, returned with his second cast of the ultimate, and immediately used Living Shadow to dash back in the moment exhaust expired. At the same time, Wei Xiao's Ezreal and Wan Mao's Sona, the bot duo on the blue team, played like a well-oiled machine. Sona's crescendo flashed across the fight and stunned both Zed and Jarvan. Ezreal's mystic shot found Janna, and Zed's Living Shadow, a Reaper's scythe, finished the remaining sliver of health. Double kill. Unstoppable. 5 kills total. The announcer's unstoppable echoed over Summoner's Rift, and the chat outside the stream exploded. Wei Xiao and Huan Mao in particular were a buzz. His lane management, his individual map awareness, the flawless coordination, everything had been on point. Vision, Huan Mao said, staring at the grayscale map, then pinged the river ward frantically. His warding is something else. It completely blocked Ming Kai's gank routes. Yeah, Wei Xiao answered dryly. From the ward at F4 at the start to baiting with Zac before every roam, this guy calculated Ming Kai's psychological shadow area. Jiang Ming hadn't just been playing a champion, he'd been directing 5 players. That 4-man dive was so clean because it wasn't random, it was staged. 1 minute earlier, in blue team chat, Jiang Ming had messaged, Zac, bait a bit and draw the blind monk top. His passive isn't ready yet. He'll consider opening the game through your top lane. He'd recognized Mingkai's tendencies and set a trap, make top look weak to lure the jungler there, then hit bot with Jarvan and the mid roam. It was teamwork and mind games, and it worked perfectly.